Yo! He can't say it. He does believe it. Yo, this is awesome. Yo, this dude is great. Anyway, we got a lot of reacts. Line the f up, okay? Line the frick up, dude. We're going to do those reacts. Don't you worry about it. Starting with Charlie Kirk.
Give birth.
25 liberal college students. Can they outsmart Charlie Kirk? I got to pee real bad. I'll be back in a second.
Yes or no question?
I think that a person who was assigned male at birth, I don't think they
assigned male at birth, so people are not male at birth?
I think that a person...
See, your evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
So what do you say in some cases, women with IUDs are murderers?
Of course not, they're not murderers.
So what's the difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
That was actually the best point somebody made.
It's not about the cells.
No,
it's not about... No, I'm speaking.
No,
I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Want to say it one more time?
No, I'm speaking.
Hello, everyone. I am Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, and I am surrounded by 20 woke college kids. My first prompt is, abortion is murder and should be illegal. All right.
Can I maybe go?
Okay, hello, what's your
Hi,
name?
Juliana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
we get our terms right first?
Yeah.
Okay, abortion is the forcible ending of the viability of a being in utero, otherwise known as a fetus. Do we agree that's what abortion is?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. And then murder is the intentional taking of life, different than killing or sudden death. So murder would be the intent, with intent, taking another life. Do we agree with that?
Okay.
Okay, and then we agree that...
I'm missing this video. Okay, let me restart this, okay? Jubilee. I personally think this should be illegal, okay? Not abortions is murder and should be illegal, but the fact that Jubilee did a change my mind video, but with Charlie Kirk, giving Charlie Kirk a platform like this, but we're still gonna watch it. We're not gonna restart it. We're gonna watch it because I heard that like there's a lot of college students that have just like cooked his ass a bunch, okay? And I do want to see it. The concept of rushing to the chair is weird. Do it by random choice. Sees intro, sighs and opens comments. That's literally what I did as well. I wanted to see. This is not getting anywhere. It's more like bullying. I can talk faster and louder than you. Like, do they want to hear the other person or they just want to be heard? My beat friend lives in Texas where she was 11 weeks pregnant. She found out her baby didn't have a heartbeat. Her baby had been gone for weeks, but her body held on to the baby. They called it a miscarriage. The crazy Texas laws made it so that she had to wait to bleed before they interfered, even though her baby was no longer alive. She told me nothing could prepare me from having my body be my baby's coffin. She wanted her child, yet she needed an emergency abortion to keep her from going into sepsis. They finally gave her DNC after she started bleeding. Those laws put her life in danger. Yeah, that is the reality that conservatives have brought about on the American public. And that is the reality that Charlie Kirk refuses to acknowledge and also defends. 20-1, at least one Hasanabi head ratio. Oh, for sure. For sure. Not a fun react. Oh my God, dude. Chatters. Just because it's Sunday Fun Day doesn't mean that this is not a video that I normally would have time to cover. Okay? Shut the fuck up and buckle in. All right? I want to watch this video. I think it's fun. Oh my God. 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 Bye. Okay. Here, take a day off. When I say Sunday Fun Day, I mean I want to do like regular old school reacts. Okay? I want to do regular old school reacts. Y'all are so goddamn annoying. Shut the fuck up. One of my least favorite things is when chatters will be like, this isn't fun. This isn't fun. Okay, just leave then. I don't know what to tell you. Okay? I always explain to you, you don't know what's good content, okay? Until you see it and you watch it and you go, okay, you know what? This was good. Just trust the process for once, okay? Please.
Murder in general in society should be illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, no, I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic.
Okay.
So I think one really important thing that the Bible says is to not judge. And just going back to the topic, I think there's a big difference between, cells in utero than a living, breathing, existing being. And while I do believe it's murder, and that's just my personal belief, right?
The fuck?
I don't believe in telling people what to do with their bodies. That's not up to me, and it's not up to us as well as Christians to judge.
Should we prevent murder in society?
For sure, yeah.
Then it should be illegal.
But I think that it's really different, right? Because
I can't believe she came in hot with I think abortion is murder, but murder should be allowed. That's a crazy way to start this process, yo. I swear to God.
you know, these people aren't.
Sorry, nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet
Okay, what's your name?
Naima.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, can I just ask, at how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
She looks like she's gonna yell at me for drinking Coke at a Palestine protest. I swear to God.
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do you think a fetus is viable?
Well, at about 20 weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable as
sure.
a form of
life.
life.
So let's go into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain?
It doesn't have viability outside of the womb. Shut the fuck up. And the real counter to this that conservatives will always engage with is basically not this like fake science shit, but what if medical advancements made it so that viability actually outside of the womb existed in 6 weeks? That's what you're supposed to say in the hypothetical. It's still a stupid ass counter argument, but it doesn't matter. There is no viability outside of the womb in a 6-week fetus style situation. There is no real heartbeat in that situation.
Brainwaves that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down the street. That person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that
a 6-week fetus is not like a person who lived a whole life but now has dementia, dog? What a psychotic argument, to which you can always turn around and counter. You can always turn around and counter with the whole in vitro fertilization conversation. You could just be like, in a fire, in a hospital, okay, you got five babies, okay, outside of the womb. 5 babies outside of the womb. They're in a crib, all right? On the other hand, you got 5,000 fertilized eggs sitting in that room. Which one do you save? Do you save 5 babies or do you save the 5,000 fertilized eggs? If you truly believe that it is a life, the utilitarian argument is you have to save the 5,000 fertilized eggs. Now, here's the thing. The reason why this silly counter is actually very successful is it directly hits a conservative in their exact line of argumentation. Okay, conservatives are very dumb. Okay, you don't have to make like a really coherent and clear and not hypocritical argument in this situation. As a matter of fact, using if you want to like actually win the debate, and this is why I always say debates have nothing to do with like actual truth, but instead like who is rhetorically better, you should always appeal to anecdotes, use emotion. That's what they do all the time, and make these kinds of like hypothetical counter arguments. Okay, make these kinds of hypothetical counter arguments that will gum up the works for them, because he doesn't want to look like a weirdo in that situation. Okay, because the broadest watchers of this debate in that counter argument are going to be like, of course you saved the 5 babies. Of course you saved the 5 babies. All right. No, you're not going to save the 5,000 fertilized eggs, obviously. Right. That's one thing that you can always hit them with, and they will look like idiots. Okay. Would you agree to be surrounded by 25 conservative college students? The only problem for me with doing these like Jubilee style videos, because they've asked me a bunch of times to be on their stuff, is I can't take a whole day off from streaming just so I can do like a Jubilee video. You know what I mean? It's not worth it for me.
The 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the? I'm sorry. Is this
It means little human being.
Ew! Look at his face! Yo! Her reaction is so perfect. Yo! Yo! You look gross, dog. Yo, debates, again, rely on aesthetics, okay? Debates rely on aesthetics heavily. When you look like that, you're losing the debate, okay? You look like a you look like a skinwalker, dude. What the yo? Fetus. This is such a stupid argument, dude. Oh, the fetus means little human in Latin. Okay.
Ugh, his smile is very creepy. Okay.
Smiling is creepy.
No, your smile specifically.
Got it.
But let's
Yes.
go back to we're losing track here.
No, but what species is the fetus?
Oh, he got mad. He got flustered. He got mad and flustered. Oh, so another thing before people say ad hominem, that, okay? When you're debating someone, you're not actually debating on the principles. You're not debating on the fundamentals. You're not debating on the truth, okay? You are trying to make them look silly. That's what it is. Anyone who debates consistently, if they try to tell you that it has nothing to do with that and it has everything to do with the truth and arriving at the truth through the Socratic method or whatever the like, no, it's all bullshit, okay? It's all aesthetics. It's all about aesthetics. It's all about optics. It's all about trying to get, let's say, the 20% that is in the middle more to your side, okay? That's it. That's all it is. And one of the best ways that, in my opinion, conservatives or like all the alt-right losers used to do this is by debating on issues that pertain to, let's say, like denying the humanity of black people. If you're like a white teenager and you're an edgelord, you can always make black people look hysterical when you debate them because you have nothing to lose in that argument when you're arguing on the boundaries of whether or not black people are fully human or not, or whether or not trans people are fully human or not, right? The other side is always going to be a little bit more emotional because for them, there's a lot at stake. For them, you're literally saying that they're subhuman, okay? So conservatives used to do this with regular frequency. They still kind of do this. It is ultimately something you should use against them regularly, okay? Just piss them off. Just, subtle jabs in a sea of like actual coherent arguments, counterpoints. It works well. Don't let anybody tell you that it doesn't work well. That was good.
The fetus is not a species yet. It's technically classified as a parasite until it is viable.
So,
now, I want to talk to you about something very quickly.
I can't
like optics-wise, I would say that calling the fetus a parasite is not the best argument overall, for sure. But anyway, let's continue.
Are you saying a baby is a disease or a tumor?
A parasite is not a disease and a tumor. Those are not the same thing. A parasite is defined as something that cannot survive outside of its host. A baby, before it is viable, cannot survive outside of a woman's womb.
Got it. So let's extrapolate that.
It is not a living organism.
Are old people with Alzheimer's?
That's why people immediately hit the red flags. They're like, when she did the parasite, she's not wrong. Medically speaking, she's not wrong. The fetus obviously functions as a parasite. It's just optically not the best argument. Sometimes you just got to like stay away from, even if you're correct, right? Sometimes you just have to stay away from using certain language. And depending on who you're talking to, another good argument you can make if someone is like a libertarian, right? And they are firmly committed to like, castle doctrine or whatever. Even if you don't believe in castle doctrine, even if you think it's an idiotic argument, you can also use that in terms of the abortion, debate as well. That's another one that you can use because you're taking their worldview, you're taking their own moral foundation and using it against them because when you talk about like abortion, ultimately, you can make that argument even from that framework where, you can use their logic against them to be like, listen, if this is an unwanted pregnancy, okay, termination is valid. You don't want to have this thing strapped to your body and be forced into carrying this pregnancy to term. So that's one of the things that is definitely important to recognize. Another one Another one is always talking about like medical freedom. Tim Walz does this very well, as a matter of fact, talking about how like even from the perspective of like denying people, this is something I talk about quite frequently, as you guys know. It's one method I love applying to these conversations, where I will say this is a medical procedure that is readily available, that should be readily available. Just because you don't personally like it doesn't mean that like a doctor and a patient can't make this medical decision. One, they know more than you. The doctor knows more than you. The patient knows more than you. Two, you're actually getting the government to be involved in something that it should not be involved in. Okay. Another great question for people who say abortion is murder and should be illegal is obviously extending their logic into pregnancies born out of rape, pregnancies born out of incest, pregnancies born out of situations like that, where there's medical complications beyond, right? If you truly believe abortion is murder and you believe murder is unconscionable and unacceptable in every circumstance, you can't just say, no, actually, we should have some allowances for abortion when they're born out of like when a pregnancy happens as a consequence of incestuous rape, for example, like pedophilic incestuous rape. That is something you can literally ask them about, especially because it is the reality. It is the reality in red states where they have absolutely restricted abortion, and doctors have a hard time carrying out these procedures because they are terrified of the legal scrutiny and the prosecutions that might come down their way if they do a medical abortion. Yeah. Taking the conservative argument to its furthest conclusions could justify forced impregnation and rape. Exactly. So that's something that you can also apply, something that you should always use as well. You literally should be like, listen, if you think abortion is murder and murder across the board is unconscionable and unacceptable, why is it not murder if California is doing it? Your president that you love, Donald Trump, said, it's a states' rights issue right now. Okay, so murder is okay in other states, but in some states murder is not okay, and even in those states, it depends on if like the murder is happening to a victim that is born out of like a pedophilic rape situation. This does not make any sense whatsoever. That's why when you walk Republicans down the abortion is murder conversation, it ultimately devolves into scum art made of Charlie Kirk. Oh God, scum art is in the chat. He's unsubscribed, so we couldn't post it, even though he's been subscribed for 13 months. And I just saw his link. He posted this. God damn, that was fast, dude. Freakish. Anyway, let's continue.
Dementia that are being assisted every day. Are they parasites?
No, they're not parasites. They're human beings who are on the brink of death.
Got it. So they're
not going to be able to survive.
My 4-month-old that requires mom's breast milk and requires daily changes and feedings cannot survive without its own. Is my 4-month-old a parasite?
Your baby can breathe on its own. Your baby can drink water from its mouth to its stomach.
But it cannot.
Your baby can eat
it hunt?
food.
Can it gather? Can it reason?
But that's not what qualifies something as being a living organism. Being a living organism simply means, can you survive outside of a womb, outside of your host?
Got it. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Why does that then equate to moral viability?
It equates to scientific viability.
Why? Under what standard?
Because it is not alive, and you are advocating for the rights of something that is not technically a life.
Got it. So what is something
while
that has
sacrificing the needs of the human woman who is alive.
Got it. So, but a mom can survive.
Yes.
Without the baby in her. Right?
Yes.
The baby cannot survive without the mom.
Yes.
But a mom cannot survive without her lungs. So it's not her body, it's in her body.
What? Okay, this is when you know he floundered. Like he didn't have a good enough argument. Like he didn't have a good enough counterpoint. So he did confusion. Okay. In a lot of instances, it might be effective, especially if the person is not like, if it's the type of talking point that you've never heard before, that you've never really encountered in the wild. You're like, what the does that mean? Like, is his argument that like lungs are parasitic?
It's a mom
like,
baby
what the
in
fuck?
her. So, but a mom can survive.
Yes.
Without the baby in her. Right?
Yes.
The baby cannot survive without the mom.
Yes.
But a mom cannot survive without her lungs. So it's not her body, it's in her body. It's not
Yeah,
her
I
DNA,
know.
so it's not her choice. So it's
It actually is directly her DNA. It is 100%. It's 50% of her DNA.
half her DNA. He's gonna win, I'm telling you. This could take a while.
Okay, first of all,
Do we have our terms correct? We agree?
Actually, no. So first of
Okay,
all,
got
I
it.
would like to refine our terms. I have
Got it.
2 points to bring up after that, though. So you define murder as like intentionally like killing a human being.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very poor way to define murder because if someone were to like break into my home and point a gun at the heads of me and everybody I love, and I
He's doing it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do the libertarian argument. He's gonna do the castle doctrine. Let's go. Okay, good.
intentionally kill them to prevent them from from killing my family, I don't think I murdered them. Right?
Oh my God, this motherfucker is such a TikToker, both from the hair all the way to saying unaliving. I'm losing my mind. You can tell this motherfucker's a TikToker, bro. Immediately he dropped unaliving in real life. You skibbity toilet ass motherfucker. I swear to God, dude. Holy moly. Oh, it's a good argument though.
So I would define murder as the unjustified termination of a human life.
You're making a good point. Let me further clarify that. So self-defense is very
Dean
warranted.
is a good kid though. I mean, yeah, he came in hot. I like what he said.
Exactly, right?
But I can see where you're going to go with how that has to go with abortion, but we can go down that journey in a second.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I kind of do want to give you my argument insofar as why I'm pro-choice, why I think it's justified. But first, I think that, you know, your position is quite absurd, right? Because you're saying that it is murder to kill a human being, right, at any point in development, especially when it's in the mother's womb. My question to you would be, well, does this make women with IUDs murderers? Because it is the case that in some scenarios, an IUD will allow for conception to occur, meaning there's a unique human life there, but it will prevent its implantation, intentionally killing it.
Well, no, preventing implantation is not necessarily the same thing as terminating a fertilized egg. For example, if you take Plan B, again, it's not the same thing. Preventing the production of progesterone is not the same thing as
Oh, hell yeah, dude. The reason why he has to say this, is because Charlie Kirk is an operative for the Trump campaign. And as an operative for the Trump campaign, he has to represent Trump's viewpoint. He does not have a unique viewpoint beyond Donald Trump. And right now, in vitro fertilization and contraceptives are a genuinely terrifying prospect for a lot of American women that are going to go out to vote in November. So for that reason, he can't take an anti-contraceptive and anti-IVF position. Normally, he would, 100%. He doesn't give a about that. Obviously, abortion has nothing to do with, like, you know, murder or a woman's choice. Abortion has nothing to do, from the framework of conservatives, has absolutely zero to do with, like, even denying a medical process overall. And it has everything to do with controlling women, okay? Making sure that women know their place as baby factories. That's it. And for that reason, yes, of course they would deny IVF. Of course they would deny contraceptives and whatnot. And they probably would if they had the opportunity to do so. But right now, he has a different purpose as a propagandist for the Trump campaign. He can't say that. So that's why he has to sit here and be like, well, actually, there's technically differences between an IUD and Plan B and also a medical abortion. Don't speak on shit you don't know about. What? Dog, I don't know whose community you're a part of. This is the only thing I know. Like, I don't know my ass from my elbow. The only thing I'm good at is knowing what conservative talking points are and understanding politics in the United States of America. That's literally the only thing I do know. I don't know anything else, really. I'm a dumbass.
Terminating a being that has been fertilized. You do not know for a fact that the egg has been fertilized. You do not know that when you have an IUD.
Okay, yeah, so preventing fertilization or implantation to the uterine lining is killing a conceived zygote. So what happens? A sperm goes into the egg, right? The egg becomes fertilized. It's a conceived zygote. In some cases, it will prevent the implantation of the conceived zygote, killing the conceived zygote.
In some cases, correct.
So what do you say in some cases, women with IUDs are murderers?
Of course not. They're not murderers. We do not know for a case.
He can't say it. He does believe it. Yo, this is awesome. Yo, this dude is great. He can't say it because right now, again, if it was any other circumstance, if the Trump campaign, for example, was anti-IVF, okay? If the Trump campaign was anti-contraceptives, okay? if there wasn't this like massive conversation surrounding like what more medical restrictions will come for women from the Republican Party if they win the presidency, if that wasn't like the main point of contention, Charlie would be calling them murderers across the board. Okay, straight up, he would be.
That's like saying that.
So what's the difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
Well, so you're asking two separate things. If they knew for certain, to be more clear, that I have a fertilized egg and I'm going to take a drug to prevent that fertilized egg from attaching to their uterine wall, then yes, that is an act of killing or murder, of course.
Okay, so do you think all murderers should go to jail?
Do I think all murderers should go to jail? I mean, on third degree murder. However, no, I don't think women that got abortions or had IUDs should go to jail because I think that they have been.
Why not? They've done a murder. What do you mean? Well, you also murder is fine. Again, this is yet another circumstance where he has to say he can't punish women for getting abortions because it is politically not viable for him to do so. Years ago, when Donald Trump was running for president, he had an oopsie. Okay, I still remember. I think he was on Chris Hardball Matthews' show where Donald Trump in, I believe, 2016 had an oopsie moment where he said, yes, I should punish women. Abortion and restrictions of abortion, of course, punish women. The entire purpose of restricting this medical process is to punish women. Okay, that's important to understand. I made a video about that at the time when Donald Trump said there has to be some form of punishment for women. I made a video at the time at the Young Turks breaking down exactly what he had said and why what he said was actually very Trumpian for the moment, where he just basically told the quiet part out loud without realizing what that sounded like. There was a reason why, even though obviously restricting this medical process to women is an immediate punishment to women, but Republicans never say that. They say punish the doctors, because women are still, in the minds of many Americans, many women who also vote for the Republican parties, the victim in this process. So you can't just like genuinely say that you want to punish women. That's why Charlie Kirk is trying to run away from the truth here, which I suspect this debate TikToker is going to clamp on, which he should.
Deceived by mass culture and mass propaganda. Secondly, the people who should go to jail are the abortionists, who are the ones that...
Like, do you think the Charlie Manson murderers, like the people that were under Charlie Manson, should not go to prison then? Because even though they enacted gruesome murders, Charlie Manson was the one who duped them. Should they not get any criminal punishments? If you think that abortion is murder and women who get the abortion pill are actually actively doing a murder, but they've been duped by the media, then don't you think that like those women themselves, even in the act, should not be punished to a certain degree? You do. Of course, you want them to be punished. Oh.
Have been putting the abortion pill, the ones that have been...
Is murder legal if you got tricked? Like, how does that work?
Doing procedures, the ones that have been going into the third trimester and breaking babies' backs and inserting them with syringes while the babies are...
I don't like this format now because it doesn't let the debater cook. Because if you want to actually try to start the conversation to like trap someone, which is very valid in a debate, the format itself renders that useless, because a lot of other people in the room are going to be like, oh, this person is actually up right now. And it cuts away at your momentum. And not only does it cut away at your momentum, it actually ends up making you look worse, because you're not allowed, like, you can't even finish the point that you're trying to, you can't even finish walking him into the trap that you set up for him.
Crying and suffocating, being born alive, and
especially when 10 people raise the flags, you're gonna get an 11th person inevitably.
Being dead on the operating table. Okay. That is who should go to jail.
Oh.
That was actually the best point somebody made.
We'll have to talk about
I know.
It. Okay, whenever I'm talking about this discussion, I always go to the question of what about in the case of the mother when her life is in danger? Because I'm a big believer. I don't know. I'm still iffy.
I wanted to see the blonde dude finish what he was going to go to. I suspect that he was going to go to what I was talking about before. Like he he actually set up the trap, but then Charlie fell into it, but he got flagged before he could cook.
On if I think it's or if it's murder or not, but even so, I mean,
the format itself is good content, but it's like bad for if you want to watch a right-wing Republican get eviscerated.
I don't want to say murder is justified. Guys, wait, let me just get this one point and then you can vote me out. Give me 1 second. Say the mother gets pregnant and she knows that if she gives birth, she's going to die. She has some kind of health complication. Then what do you do in that case?
Section.
I don't know what that means.
It's a C-section.
They do an insert. Guys, wait, hold on. Just give me 1 second.
They go right below the belly button and they deliver the baby. And after she doesn't have to give birth, it's technically birth, but it's much safer. So that's actually safer than an abortion procedure.
It sucks. Like, this sucked. I think she had a decent cook there, but she wasn't even allowed because she was not confident enough. So they clapped her. No, she was awful on the optics. Like, the question that she was going to go towards, I mean, you should know what a cesarean section is, by the way. And it's ridiculous. And also the fact that he said a cesarean, like Charlie Kirk right there. Let me just point out what insanity this is. Charlie Kirk right there said a cesarean section, and Republicans do this all the time, so I'm going to do it as well, which is the process of taking a knife to the body of a woman, cutting her up, going into her uterus, and taking the baby out that way is actually safer than a medical abortion, which in 94% of instances can be as simple as taking a pill and pissing out the baby, okay? Pissing out the fetus in the first trimester specifically. The notion that you would force a woman to carry a pregnancy until a C-section is insane. It has a shit ton of time for recovery. It has additional complications. It is ridiculous to say that that is safer. It is not safer. He is completely insane for saying that. Demonic shit.
Sorry, Lily. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
What's your name?
Deedon.
Nice to meet you.
I would say with abortion, I think it's very complicated, but I think the issue that I have primarily with your stance of being pro-life, that there's no nuance. There's women who are being forced to travel hundreds of miles to access abortion care, even in cases of rape in certain states that they're not giving any sort of allowance for that. And I think, a lot of people who are pro-life, they say that they're pro-life, but I feel like they're really pro-birth because with firearms, the United States has some of the high.
It's true. I mean, yes, people who claim to be pro-life are actually pro-forcing women to carry pregnancies to term. That is technically true. He's not doing a great job communicating that right now because he used positive terminology, pro-life, pro-birth. No, you shouldn't say pro-life to pro-birth. You should say people who claim to be pro-life are actually pro-forcing women to carry pregnancies to term. Use complicated language in that situation. It's fine. Republicans do it all the time. They will use like brutal terminology to describe with great graphic detail how surgeries work whenever they want to talk about, bottom or top surgeries for trans people. You know what I mean? Trans adults, by the way. You can't get that if you're a minor, but regardless, they lie about it too. But you should also absolutely use that kind of emotion-invoking language to your advantage if you're ever finding yourself in a debate situation like this. I've seen this dude. This dude is a TikTok debate guy too, I think.
Highest firearm deaths out of OECD nations, right? And we can acknowledge that that's for children who are actually living and breathing.
This guy's a Hasanabi head, 100%.
So I feel like abortion, while yeah, it is, I can definitely see your point. I just think that it should be allowed in some circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy to get into the gun violence stuff later, but I want to really stay focused on abortion.
Right.
You can say you see my point. Can you see the world also where, since we know it's a human life, that it should be illegal since we don't allow murder in our society?
Well, that's where I have an issue because abortion is not being done willy-nilly. It's like the life of the mother is always.
How many abortions do you think we have every day in America? Just guess.
I'm not sure.
Guess.
I'm honestly not sure. Maybe, I don't know, 1,000?
4,000 a day. So
4,000.
it is kind of willy-nilly. We have 1.6.
Okay, great counterexample to that. First of all, he said 4,000 abortions a day. Okay, 4,000 abortions a day. I don't think that's true, but let's say it is. Okay, let's say it is true that there are 4,000 abortions happening a day. It's like asking how many people take insulin a day. The counter to that is supposed to be, how many people do you think, Charlie, take insulin a day in the United States of America? I don't know the exact number. Let's look it up for this fun argument. Insulin, daily insulin usage in the U.S. In 2016, average daily insulin use was 62 units. No. How many people take insulin a day in the U.S.? How many people take insulin in the U.S. every day? Over 30 million Americans have diabetes, and more than 7 million of them require daily insulin. Okay, 7 million people need daily insulin dosages every single day. Okay, if you personally think that this one medical process is a big no-no for you, but the other one is appropriate, that's a weird standard that we need to set. Why is Charlie Kirk the one who is deciding what medical processes that a doctor is making, a decision that a doctor and a patient are making together, is warranted to your level of scrutiny? Are you going to stop it? Like, okay, 4,000 people, 4,000 abortions are happening in the United States every single day. 7 million people are taking insulin every single day. 7 million. You know, that's even a larger number. Why are we having a conversation of how many people are getting abortions every single day? And why are we trying to stop these people from getting this medical procedure? Okay? Because you chose to do so. You decided arbitrarily that it's murder, even though in your own logical framework, it technically is murder, but some murders are permissible, even though you think all murders are completely inappropriate and unacceptable. This is why you have to, is he including miscarriages and stillbirths in that 4K number? Probably. Okay, probably. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, 4,000 abortions happening in the United States of America. It could be 10,000 abortions happening in the United States of America every single day. That doesn't matter. It does not matter. The number does not matter. Okay? It doesn't. The reason why it doesn't matter is because people take insulin. People do medical procedures that are significantly more harmful to their bodies in an effort to survive every single day. Why are we letting psychopathic right-wingers decide what kind of medical procedures are appropriate and what kind of medical procedures are inappropriate? That is a ridiculous, arbitrary distinction that we've completely gave to the right-wingers on this issue. We're just like, oh, okay. He's not distinguishing between medical and surgical procedures. You keep saying medical abortions when I think you mean surgical. What? No. I mean, a medical abortion is just an abortion. Like, it's a medical miscarriage, sorry, is what I should be saying. A medical miscarriage is medicine-induced miscarriages, which is technically what an abortion is. Either miscarriages happen naturally, or you get a medicine-induced miscarriage, which is what would be. Abortion isn't necessarily the same as insulin. Really? Brother, insulin is necessary while abortion isn't? What the It's not? So why the are we having a conversation about all these people with like ectopic pregnancies and whatnot? It absolutely is a necessity. It is absolutely a medical necessity in a shit ton of incidents. In a shit ton of instances, it is definitely a medical necessity. Why are we even having a conversation about Texas? Why are we even having a conversation about Ohio and all these red states where women cannot get a medical miscarriage or an abortion and are dying or bleeding out until they can actually go to the doctor where they can be like, all right, now we can let you have this abortion? Wait, how is insulin harmful though? I don't get it. It's not. Neither is an abortion pill. Okay? Every medicine has like obvious side effects, but that's not what I'm talking about here. That is ridiculous. Of course abortions are necessary. The idea that this is, by the way, typical. I hate to be like Radlib on this. But this is, typical male brain right here. How many of the 4,000 abortions are medically necessary as insulin? 4,000. Every single one of them. Every single one of them is as medically necessary as insulin. What the are you talking about? This is a whole ass human being, okay, that is making a medical decision with a doctor. You are ridiculous. You are the one who's saying they're not necessary. You've decided they consented, the medical professional consented, but you're not consenting. It's going to be really hard for you to understand this, okay? Really hard, because you have this idea in your mind that people just get impregnated for funsies and then get fun abortions. They get fun abortions, okay? This is a right-wing sentiment that has completely captured the minds of many people who seemingly have no way of actually ever being impregnated, so they don't ever think about that fear. They don't ever have that fear. They also do not even have the capacity to demonstrate empathy for their sisters or their mothers or, you know, women in general. Yes, this is what I think. You think people are getting fun abortions as a treat. Talk to a woman, please, okay? Why do you think this is such a massive issue for the Republican Party in the upcoming election? The idea that like an abortion is just like a fun process that people are just doing and not a simple medical procedure, especially in the first trimester, but like beyond that, just a simple medical procedure, a medical decision made by a doctor and a patient is ridiculous. Okay? Talk to a woman challenge impossible. Ridiculous. You're wrong. And that is a dumb way to think, chatter. Okay? It says dumb is thinking that there is no 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour when there obviously is one. Abortion is way safer than pregnancy or birth. Yes. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, by the way. If you want to abort the top of the hour ad break, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. I think you need to describe the process. There's paperwork, first, second, and third visit that includes screening, disclosures, explanation of the process, pros and cons, and follow-up after the procedure. There's no abortion vending machine that people can just walk up to. I mean, yeah, but you can also order over-the-counter abortion medicine as well. I believe that process is like simpler.
Sorry.
Yeah, see, this is why I said in medicine, we literally document a miscarriage as an abortion, which is factored into the numbers. Women can't even grieve their loss legally in certain states. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. I just want to clarify, the thing that you're aiming for is less abortion, right? That would be what you would want, or at least no abortion.
Eventually, it's also...
Yeah, she's going to talk about sex education and not abstinence-only sex ed, like real sex ed for students, because Republicans also stopped that dead in its tracks too, okay? If you actually truly want to stop abortions from happening, okay? The real goal, or if you want to lower the number of abortions from happening for one reason or the other, okay? Maybe you think it's too much revenue being spent on this medical process. Like, it could be something like that, right? For any reason whatsoever. The real way to do that is to offer sex education at school, okay? Early on. This is something that Republicans don't want to do, okay? You need to make contraceptives readily available, and you need to also teach people sex ed at an early age. Republicans don't want either of those things either, because when there is more sex ed, there are less teenage pregnancies. And I do not mean abstinence-only sex education, because that's another silly way that the Republicans have actually found an out here. Kaya, place, baby. What is this? Oh, little lady. Anyway, the observation hockey for political arguments. Yeah, I think she's gonna try to do that.
A protection of those that can't protect themselves. But yes, and that's why...
Dude, I've done so many videos on abortion, especially when I was at the Young Turks. Like, any number of these, like...
Since abortion is a conversation that's back on the scene, let's talk about it. I will be looking at Ben Shapiro's arguments because nothing's better than two men talking about legislation that has no effect on their bodies whatsoever. Progress. Now, Here's my broad view. Abortions should be 100% legal, they should be safe, and hopefully not very common. I think you can be pro-life and pro-choice at the same time. Most people actually are. You can choose not to get an abortion, but you shouldn't deny others that same liberty, especially since it is a fact that an abortion ban does not decrease abortions, it just makes them incredibly unsafe. But here's how the big anti-abortion advocate Ben Shapiro approaches this subject, with a lot of feelings and not necessarily a lot of facts, starting by describing a partial birth abortion to make his argument that this is representative of all abortions.
This is a baby it was a picture of a baby that was aborted by Kermit Gosnell.
Now, this is a partial birth abortion where the fetus has viability outside the body. It is illegal, hence the person who committed this crime was found guilty and is now in prison. But since we're talking facts, 92% of legal US abortions take place in the first 13 weeks inside the first trimester, okay? It's usually an incredibly difficult decision, followed by a very simple process that involves taking a hormone pill. In some instances, there's also a surgical procedure, but it is not a baby being killed. So this photo is not representative of anything remotely like what takes place the vast majority of time, which, by the way, is exactly what people want to make illegal. As a matter of fact, it's shameful that someone who claims to care so much about facts would try to sway others with such a transparently emotional appeal and basically lie to his followers. But back to you, Ben. Describe us the horrific details of the incredibly rare and illegal procedure of partial birth abortions.
It involves the snipping off of the crushing of the skull, the sucking out of the brains. It involves, and these are fully formed children.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. So now you're past the point of talking about viability outside the womb. You're past the point of even calling them babies. You're just claiming that these are fully formed children, Ben. Yeah? They're playing with Legos and shit inside the womb. Okay, got it. If you're working extra hard to make the case that abortion should be completely illegal because of something that's already illegal, then maybe you've lost the argument from the jump. What are you trying to do here, Ben? And let's talk about late-term abortions. They are different than what Shapiro's describing. They're only legal in 7 states and are very rare, usually reserved for instances where the mother's health is in jeopardy, a previously unknown abnormality is found, or when the fetus cannot live outside the body. The idea that women will be taking on this much more expensive and invasive procedure if it's completely legal is idiotic and is a purely male-driven fantasy. No woman should be forced to carry out an unwanted pregnancy. And the other reality is people are forced into late-term abortions because of the logistical delays imposed on them by the pro-life crowd. Essentially, in red states where women seeking abortions are forced to jump through all kinds of unnecessary hoops and clinics performing abortions are required to deal with.
Why do you say abortion should be rare? Genuinely asking. Because ultimately, the fact that an abortion is taking place means that, like, someone practiced unsafe sex. Someone practiced unsafe sex, or someone, God forbid, was victim to a rape or something like that. Okay? Ultimately, it means that sex ed failed. That's it. Like, it means an unplanned pregnancy.
With ever-increasing red tape and government scrutiny.
And by that, I mean unsafe sex happened. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, you know, I myself love unsafe sex. But, like, somewhere along the line, there was a societal failure. What are your opinions on restricting the reasons for abortion? I've seen some arguments over whether abortions over projected disability should be banned. Yeah, this is not the point of contention for Republicans in general. It is a silly way that Republicans try to be like, oh, it's eugenics or whatever. I don't personally care in terms of, like, the disability activism point of contention here. Like, I don't. I think it's a side conversation that debate lords like to have, but that's not the main point of contention here. We're talking about denying a medical procedure to half the population. It's bullshit. I don't want to entertain all these other things, okay?
The pro-life crowd, in its essence, are responsible for more late-term abortions than they're not. And here's another question I can never figure out about pro-lifers who want to make abortion legal. How far will you go to prosecute those who get back alley?
Why though? What do you mean, why though? Because that is not the main point of contention. It is a simple mechanism of distraction caused by someone who enjoys debate too much. Cloud District enjoyer, you are that person, okay? If your goal is to talk to a Republican or rather a larger audience, it's not the main point of contention. I apologize if I derailed. I'm not a debate lord. No, you absolutely are a debate lord. The only reason why you would bring this up is because there's that dog in you. You want spirited debate at all points. That's precisely the reason why you always come in here with that libtard bullshit on a regular basis every time I've criticized Kamala Harris. It is the same dog you have in you that you have brought out on this day as well, okay? That's the reason why you do this every time I talk about Kamala Harris, who should run on more progressive policies. You come in here and you're like, well, actually, technically, it seems like they're unpopular. Seems like they're unpopular. You had this conversation because you like having debates.
Abortions. Will you arrest the poor women who cannot afford to keep the baby or won't even survive a pregnancy? If you're pro-life, then why don't you care about the life of the woman carrying the baby? It's proven a million times over that making abortions illegal does little to reduce abortions. It only makes them deadlier, with over 68,000 female deaths per year and over 5 million women permanently disabled annually because of back alley abortions. So why go back to the Stone Age when this is completely preventable? And if you believe that all abortion is murder, then where does life begin? Does life begin at conception? So what are the legal boundaries you'd enforce for that? No more coming? You have to pull out every time or we're gonna arrest you? Sorry, libtards. While I hate these theoretical scenarios that Ben routinely engages in, here's a good one for you to use in the future. If there was a fire in a hospital and you had the option of saving a child, and then on the other side you had 100 fertilized embryos inside of an in vitro fertilization tank, which one would you choose to save? That's technically 100 lives you'd be saving over the one life, right? There's a reason why virtually everyone who's being honest would choose the child. It's because there's a difference between life outside of the body and fertilized eggs.
And it's not a matter of personal choice. Okay, I have a stake in whether my neighbor gets murdered, and I have a stake in whether my neighbor's baby gets murdered too.
Ultimately, if you'd really like to decrease the amount of abortions, you'd push for greater sex ed and R&D investments into better contraceptive options for both men and women. That's the only real thing that would actually decrease the amount of abortions, and it has. However, those same people pushing for anti-abortion legislation are usually the ones who also block sex ed and Planned Parenthood funding, when Planned Parenthood is doing way more work to decrease the number of abortions with family planning services than they ever would. And look, here's my olive branch to Ben. Let's go to an abortion clinic together. Let's go talk to doctors, one that you choose and one that I choose. Let's go dive deeper into this issue because it seems to me like you genuinely do care about this from an emotional perspective. So let's have an honest conversation. Maybe we can change people's minds. You know where to reach me.
God damn, my man, you had a glow up and you were hot back then. Props to you, King. Inspiration. Thank you. Why do they call forced birth pro-life? It's the biggest goddamn L. Dog. Republicans focus group this shit, focus test this shit like crazy. Okay? That's why you don't call the estate tax an estate tax no more. People call it the death tax. Why? Because Republicans are constantly round the clock focus testing certain kinds of messages to see what is more appealing to a broader market, because they are wholeheartedly aware that their policies are objectively unpopular. So they're constantly working on how to sell this shit, okay? Yeah, I also don't even say abortion should be rare any longer. You're right about that. That's not even a thing. That's not even a thing I use anymore. Guys, come on. That's a video from 2018, okay? Like, when I say I'm super consistent on my talking points, that doesn't fucking mean I'm always using the same exact talking points. You know, sometimes you improve your narrative. Sometimes you improve your rhetoric. Rare Hasan L. If you think that that is an L overall, you're not understanding the point overall. Yeah, it's originally Hillary Clinton that said abortion should be rare. I recognize that it's not. I want to clarify that I haven't argued with you over Harris, and that's probably someone else you're thinking of. Maybe there's another username. There's another chatter in here with a cloud name that has a green name as well, and I'm mixing you up. That could be a reality. 18 ounces of chicken today. Hillary Clinton said it, and I think Bill Clinton said that back in the day as well. Oh, God. Oh, God. Let's continue.
After the reversal of Roe versus Wade, we saw abortions go down dramatically in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. We saw thousands of babies that are now alive and well that are able to have amazing lives thanks to the reversal of Roe versus Wade.
I don't think a lot of that is true.
Well, it is, but
it's not true, because when you make abortion illegal, it doesn't actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
That's a nice talking point. In Texas, the numbers show differently. The birth rate has gone up.
Yeah, legal goes down, but illegal abortions still happen. Abortions still happen outside of whatever data you're showing.
That's not true, but let's just say.
It is true. Kaiser Family Foundation has extensive documentation on this process, because the reality of the matter is, given that the fetus, whether Charlie likes to admit it or not, still relies on the carrier to survive, you end up with a situation where people just get back alley abortions, or rather abort the fetus themselves, okay, through illegal means. And by illegal, I mean, like, it's not always prosecutable, because how the f can you tell? This is another aspect of the conversation that is also very frustrating for someone like myself, and that is, how do you prosecute? What do you intend to do in your prosecution? how can you figure out if a person is actually forced a abortion versus they've just had a regular miscarriage? Are you going to start prosecuting people you suspect of being pregnant, women you suspect of being pregnant, when you see them drinking wine at a restaurant? How much wine have they had? Are you going to start prosecuting them if you see them doing something like, I don't know, shoveling snow, but they're pregnant? Well, that's actually a physical task that you should not be engaging in, ma'am. Sorry, we're going to have to bring you in. I have another video on the subject matter where I talk about prosecuting miscarriages, which, by the way, happens in this country already. It's not the Salem witch trials. It happens all the time.
So, well, if you
40?
if you want to, well, first of all, if you count the abortion pill, you're right, but that's a separate thing than a chemical abortion.
Oh, so she is right, and you're just doing the classic thing that conservatives love doing, which is try to massage the data to suit your argument. Got it. Okay, nice.
And surgical abortion are different things. And I'm not debating. I'm not debating you. I'm debating her. So if you want to do the flags and come back in, try and be faster next time. So let me ask you this. So the question is, we should try to limit unjust suffering of human beings, right?
Sure.
Okay, that's my position, is that there's unjust suffering of anywhere between 1.4 to 1.6 million abortions a year of human beings that are being massacred in the womb. And so that's not a woman's rights issue, that's not a men's rights issue, that's just a human rights issue.
Okay, the best way to decrease abortions happening is proper sex education. Limiting abortion and making abortion illegal does not actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
So what is your evidence of that?
What is my evidence of that?
Because we have increased sex education last.
The Kaiser Family Foundation literally has a study that proves that abortions don't decrease when you ban it. They just become less safe. That's number one, something that he also recognized. And there are numerous studies conducted on sex education, decreasing the number of teenage pregnancies and the number of unwanted pregnancies in general.
Last 30 years,
our sex education is so bad in America.
Well, by bad, what do you mean by that? We have more access to birth control for young kids. We have more kids that are learning to use birth control at a younger age. We have more of that in our public school system, and we've seen all the trends actually go in a negative direction. So, in fact, we see that the more sex education there is, the more disturbing those trends are. So you say that. Let me ask just one more thing. You say that if we,
he's not lying here. He's just doing conservative framing. You need to look at state by state, because every state has different rules for sex education. But even then, what he's lying about here is abstinence only sex education. That's why I brought that up specifically. Conservatives are so gross that they will literally be like, oh, well, there's sex education in this state, and yet it seems like teenage pregnancies still went up. Yeah, because the sex education in Alabama is like abstinence only sex education. The sex education in Mississippi is abstinence only sex education. You piece of shit. That's not sex education. That is the distinction here. But conservatives will, one, argue for abstinence only sex education, and then will turn around and go, see, sex education doesn't work. Monstrous pieces of shit overall. Really dumb.
Make abortion illegal, people will still do it. Should we then just make gang violence legal because
No, I'm
people
saying
still
if you
do it?
actually wanted to decrease the amount of abortions that happen, you wouldn't be advocating for to make abortion illegal. You'd be advocating for all
Does
of these
that
other
logic
things.
apply to stealing, looting, kidnapping, arson, and murder?
Well, actually, it does, because those are results of different
Okay,
societal issues that you should be
got it.
educating
So we
yourself
should
on, rather than making it
so we
illegal
should
on
make-
the front.
Should we make kidnapping, arson, burglary, murder legal because
Charlie trapped her in this situation because although she's right, it's going to make her look bad and him look good to like onlookers in general. Okay? Stay on. Yeah, the optics are not great on the situation. The entire process of like having rules around a particular thing is to make it, you're never going to be able to fully stop crime, right? Unless you fix the underlying material conditions, which no one wants to do. Liberals don't want to do it. Republicans don't want to do it either. Okay? But the entire purpose of like making something illegal is to, offer additional punishments to make it less likely that people engage in that sort of behavior. Okay? The problem in this situation is Charlie is equating in this abortion, which he automatically assumes is a crime. That's the main point of contention. Is abortion murder? And should it be illegal? Charlie now has actually jumped over that premise because that's his underlying premise that he believes, right? Or he claims to believe, and is now equating it to something that does have societal harm. Theft has societal harm. Crime in general has societal harm. That's why there's rules around that sort of thing. So he already skipped that step. So what you have to do in that situation, if you want to quickly fucking turn around and flip the conversation back to him, is you think abortion is murder and should be illegal. I do not think I don't even believe that you genuinely believe that. That is the conversation that we're supposed to be having. You cannot just jump over this premise and equivocate abortion to crimes and rapes and things of that nature.
Is there symptoms of something else?
We should be helping society heal from
No,
those
you got to
things.
answer the question. We want less of those things. Should we just make them legal and we'll get less looting?
He's dominating the conversation.
You know, actually, I'm gonna let someone else.
Thank you very much.
He's dominating the combo.
Hi, Parker. Nice to meet you. Yes.
Nice to meet you, Charlie.
Big TikTok guy here.
So, like, pedophiles, people who were married to children in the past and normalized in that society, should they go to prison?
Should pedophiles?
Like,
go
if
to
you could go
prison?
back in time, would you put those pedophiles in prison that married those children because it was normalized? They were deceived into thinking it's okay. Would you put them in prison?
You got to slow down.
Sorry.
Pedophiles should get.
He's going back to the earlier conversation. He's going back to the women shouldn't be punished because they were duped into murdering their fetus. Remember? That boy's about to cook. Okay? Oh, he's doing it. I actually found you through Parker. Wait, what? Okay. Anyway, he's doing the thing that I said you should do, which is tackle the underlying premise, okay? Abortion is murder and should be illegal. If you think abortion is murder, which Charlie does not, you can literally turn around and interrogate his moral system and pick it apart. Because he already earlier, talking to someone else, said falsely, oh, well, I don't think women should be punished because for getting an abortion, even though it's murder, because they've been duped. So what he's doing here is exactly that.
Get the death penalty.
No, so you'd go back in the past, you'd give them the death penalty even though they were deceived into thinking it was okay? But you said people who get abortions who are women shouldn't go to prison.
But it's not currently illegal.
Okay, regardless.
Pedophilia
at
is
that time, it wasn't.
No, I would not go back and retroactively enforce laws where things were currently not illegal.
You wouldn't put pedophiles in prison in the past.
Hold on a second. When was it illegal? When was it legal in America?
Well, child marriage was legal in America throughout the early 1900s and especially throughout most of society for thousands of years.
It's still legal in America, by the way. For the record, just pointing that out. In a lot of red states where Republicans who routinely falsely claim that like trans people are pedophiles will then turn around and defend child brides, child marriages in general. Good shit.
Years, especially in the Old Testament and in the Bible, right?
Hold on a second. So where is the Levitical law that allows you to marry a child?
Oh, yeah.
Can you name the verse?
Well, I can't name the verse, but the particular conditions that are listed in the Bible are that you have to be physical maturity and emotional maturity, which is extremely vague and throughout society has been seen to be met at puberty.
There is not a verse, but let's kind of go back.
Okay, so when is the age of consent
abortion.
under your view?
Let's go back to, generally agreed upon, it's 18 years old.
Notice that he's on the back foot now, Charlie, I mean, because this dude is literally dominating the conversation. Great job. The other girl before was being too kind to him. You should never be kind to these animals, okay? You should never be kind to them, especially when you're debating them, okay? Maybe outside of the field of debate, whatever, he shows up on your live stream to be like, you should give me money because you react to so many of my videos or whatever. You'll be like, you can laugh to their face. How you doing?
You got to send me commission on all the YouTube videos you make about me.
Anyway, but when you're in the field of debate, if you want to take on this task, you should not be kind to them.
But let me ask you.
Because you don't go based on what's generally agreed. You go based on the Bible.
I say 18 years old, but let me ask you a question.
Where's that in the Bible?
When does life begin?
Conception.
Like conception, great. So good. So should we protect all life at conception?
I care about sentient life, not cellular life.
So when do brainwaves start?
Do you think brain dead people should be able to pull the plug on, like a family should be able to pull the plug on an individual in the family that's brain dead?
You got to answer the question. When do brainwaves start?
You can see brainwaves around 6 to 8 weeks, which in brain-dead individual, there are brainwaves as well. So the brainwaves necessary to produce a subjective experience are met until around 18 through 26 weeks in the womb.
Can you see it from my perspective that at 6 to 8 weeks, those brainwaves will actually increase, not decrease, if allowed the process of development to continue?
Did you know those same EEG scans exist in brain-dead people that you don't think are sentient?
No, but the difference with the brain-dead people is that the likelihood of those brainwaves actually increasing is very low at 6 to 8 weeks, when by 15 weeks they can hear the mom's
impossible.
voice.
It's irreversible sensation. That's what brain death is. I
Hold on,
didn't know that.
But no,
it's not coma.
But you're doing a red herring. Go back to
no, it's not. What's a red herring?
A red herring is where you avoid the topic and you say something that is adjacent or symmetrical to what I'm saying, but not actually what I'm saying.
You mean a reductio ad absurdum? That's not a red herring.
A 6 to 8 week baby, if they're allowed to continue to develop, what ends up happening?
At a certain point, it will become a sentient being in the future. The same way that if I keep engaging in sex with my girlfriend, there'll be a baby in the future. Yet I don't care about the
unless
sperm.
you're infertile, which we don't know. But let's see the process of development, right? Why
do you want to answer my question yet?
Charlie tried to do that. Charlie tried to jab at him and say, unless you're infertile. Again, right wingers love doing that shit and then crying about how you're doing ad hominems. Okay? Charlie tried to hit him with a weak sperm. Dog, looking the way you do, you probably shouldn't be talking about anybody's sperm being weak. Okay? Yeah, this is the dolphin fetus guy.
Why do you have the ability or the right?
Should those child P3Os go to prison?
The process of
should the pedophiles go to prison?
From 1904. How many pedophiles are alive from 1904?
They're not alive, right? I meant like if you can go back in the past, hypothetically speaking, and you could put them in prison. Would you put them in prison?
I would have killed them myself if I was alive.
Okay, so then you don't apply it based upon what people are deceived to believe. You apply it based upon what you consider to be moral. So the women who had abortions, you think they should go to prison. So why should women who get abortions go to prison, but someone like my mom who told me that Santa Claus exists shouldn't go to prison because they're both sense?
This is not going to be a constructive debate if you keep on talking over me.
Well, I was finishing my statement. You were talking over me. But go for it.
Let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think it would be a good thing if we had less abortions in America?
It depends on the context. Like, are the abortions prior to sentience?
People who are red flagging this dude right now are just doing simply because they want to talk. No disrespect to the Hasanabi heads that involved themselves in this process, but the only reason why you're flagging him is because you want to chirp. Okay? He's obviously doing a good job. Put the goddamn flag down, dude. Holy shit, this is annoying as
Yes,
because I think
all abortions.
No, it would not be necessarily better unless it is the case
abortion?
that the people didn't want the abortions and it would be negatively impactful to their health, medically speaking.
Are you against late-term abortion?
After sentience, yes.
Okay, so you believe in an 8-week abortion ban?
Yeah. No, I don't. Sorry, I believe in an abortion ban after 18 through 26 weeks.
Okay, that's a more reasonable position. I have to give you credit for that.
It's similar to Trump's 15 weeks.
Wrong. I don't agree with him on this. Okay? No, the real argument here is to follow the medicine, okay? Follow what scientists have decided, which is no restrictions on abortions until in the first trimester, and then obvious exceptions, but never to like fully say outright ban of abortions, even in the third trimester. The reason why you're not supposed to say that is because you're technically conceding to the idiotic notion that Republicans have cultivated that people are having abortions for fun. Third trimester abortions are endlessly complicated, and they comprise, I believe, 1% of the entire abortions that take place over the course of the entire year. And they are there are no legal exceptions to this. There's not a single state where you can just get it for fun. Okay? It requires a shit ton of prior medical conversations that you're having with your doctor. Not only that, but also most of the people that get those abortions, the overwhelming majority, every single one of them technically, but the overwhelming majority are actually getting those abortions specifically. No, the no restriction states still have exemptions, okay? You're wrong. When people say no restrictions, they just mean you can get it up to literally the 9th month. But there is no state in the United States of America where you can carry a pregnancy to the 3rd trimester and get an abortion without any sort of conversations back and forth with a doctor. Okay, you're misunderstanding Parker on this point. No, he said he couple things he conceded on. I think is I don't think I misunderstood him. Maybe he has a different point of view and it didn't come across here. But I've just read it. Yes, the 6 states that have no restrictions, you still have to show bodily harm. Okay, you still have to show bodily harm, as in like the psychological impact of carrying a pregnancy to term. And in most of these circumstances, in the overwhelming majority of those circumstances, it's direct bodily harm beyond even a psychologically traumatic operation. It is a medical necessity, okay? Because think about it this way. Conservatives act like abortion is something that people are just having for fun, right? Conservatives are conservatives claim that like women get impregnated, carry a pregnancy to term, and then end up terminating the pregnancy just for fun, right? If you're doing it for fun, why the would you carry a goddamn fetus and let it sit inside of you for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months to just max out on the fun? Like, what kind of delusional nonsense is this? No, the only reason why in all of those 6 states where there are technically no restrictions, there are still restrictions. The only way you can get a medical abortion in the 3rd trimester in those 6 states that you're talking about, you still need to demonstrate harm to the carrier. Okay? That's it. You cannot just like walk in and be like, hey, chop me up, sir. Especially after the fetus has viability outside of the carrier's body. Okay? Let me state that I'm not against 3rd term, but I read the 6 states have no restrictions. Yes, it's a lie that Republicans tell. They make it seem as though these guys allow you in the law to just be able to get it like that. Most people don't. Like, there's not a single person who's like, chop me up, chop my shit up on the 7th month, okay? That's not a real thing. In every single circumstance, because this process is so medically invasive, okay, you still have to go to a doctor, and the doctor will tell you like how complicated of a procedure this is, and that in every single circumstance, you have to demonstrate harm to the carrier. You have to tell a doctor personally how you will be harmed by this, okay? So don't feed into this right-wing this right-wing hysteria.
Yeah, so why do you think that most people don't share your view on that?
Well, people just don't really know what sentience is. There's not a lot of conversation about abortion, and these conversations are very difficult. Like they're conceptually hard to go through, and I understand why a lot of people don't understand their positions on it.
So
but I think people
you
have
are where most
you're cutting
Americans
me off. I thought we weren't cutting people off.
I was actually complimenting you. How are you? Nice to see you.
So I just have one question. There's like in any case, you don't think there's any case where abortion should be legal?
There's a very, very rare couple cases.
Okay, so you do think that a
one
couple
second.
cases
Hold
it
on.
is legal?
If cesarean section is not going to save the mother's life, and the mother's life is actually at risk, which is debated amongst growing numbers of OBGYNs,
Okay.
that is the only case where abortion should be.
He said the mother's life, like the mother's life is debated among OBGYNs. That's terrifying, dude. That's actually straight up terrifying. It's not debatable, dog. What do you mean? Oh, the ectopic pregnancies is debatable. Yo, these people are monsters, dude. Holy shit. God, I hate Republicans so much. I will never forgive the Democratic Party for not launching a better defense against the goddamn Republicans. They're so f***ed up.
Do you think there should?
But people say it is a growing consensus in the pro-life world that abortion is never medically necessary.
Okay. So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was going to give birth and she would and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's but it's a real life scenario that happens to
down.
many
The
people.
answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
Okay, you got to expect him. You cooked, but you got to expect him to be a demon here. Okay? I mean, this stands on its own. Charlie Kirk is officially saying some wild shit in order to demonstrate moral consistency. This will cause him to lose more of the audience that's watching than win over the people who are already primed for his position. He actually stepped on a debate trap in this circumstance. Perhaps because he would be the father himself of his daughter's, his daughter's forcibly born child. Maybe that's why. He'd be like, oh, I'd welcome the baby, my second daughter / granddaughter at the same time. It'd be great. Yeah. So the irony, of course, is that he said he would he's lying in this situation because you can't force a 10-year-old to go through birth. They would die. So when he said yes, your your retaliation in the circumstance would be like, no, you wouldn't. You want to know why you wouldn't? Because a 10-year-old having to carry a pregnancy to term would mean a death sentence. You would, in an effort to remain morally consistent here, say it's better off that your 10-year-old daughter, who was a victim of rape, is dead. So, you know, silly bullshit.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you a question. There's 2 ultrasounds I have. One is a baby conceived in rape. One is a baby conceived by a loving couple. Which one is which?
Your daughter was probably hopefully conceived by a somewhat loving couple.
Conceived by rape? Tell me which one was conceived by rape.
You don't know.
Exactly, because it's all human rights
but
and it's all human beings.
But that doesn't matter. It's about your daughter who has to give birth to it and is going to be tortured by that for the rest of her life. That's going to take away every freedom she's ever going to have. That's going to ruin her life. She's going to.
You can't win this argument with a misogynist. He doesn't care. His daughter is already subhuman because it's his daughter. That's the problem with having a conversation with a person who has nothing to lose, especially when you are a person whose rights are being infringed on personally. It's going to be emotional for you, understandably so. That is the unfortunate reality. He could sit there and be like, yeah, I don't give a f. Yeah, I'm going to force my 10-year-old daughter who is a victim of pedophilic rape to literally carry a pregnancy to term. He can just sit there and say that. That's his whole worldview. He wants all women to be subject to this destiny. That's what he wants. So trying to turn around and appeal to his like humanity in this circumstance doesn't work because he is not human. His analysis in this situation. You said he already has a daughter. This is not a hypothetical for him. Yeah, you don't understand. He has a daughter. He just doesn't see her as a full human with full rights in the same way that he doesn't see any women. That's what I'm saying. Do you get it? Do you understand? In his mind, he's like, women are vessels for new children, brood mares. My daughter is no exception. Do you get it?
Grow up and she's going to be attached to another thing.
The point is how you were conceived is irrelevant to what human rights you get.
But
hold on 1 second. If a person conceived in walks down the side of the street, it's not like they don't get First Amendment rights or Second Amendment rights.
It's not about that person.
The worst thing to do to the daughter is to then say, hey, we're going to go murder the being inside of you.
They wouldn't even know. Like, listen.
They would.
Dude, that's crazy. He's literally over here 10 toes down being like, yeah, if my 10-year-old daughter was I would force her to carry that pregnancy to term. What she should do in this situation, by the way, no one is hitting red flags right now because they're just like in awe of the argument Charlie's making. What you're supposed to do is take a breather, okay, and say, you are here telling everyone that's going to watch this video that if your 10-year-old daughter was you would force her to carry that pregnancy to term, which would most likely kill her. Therefore, that's how much of an extremist you are in terms of forcibly carrying pregnancies to term. I don't believe that you yourself are this demonic.
Listen. But wouldn't it be a better story to say something evil happened and we do something good in the face of evil instead of saying we're going to do evil and then murder the being because we're going to pander to the evil? No. What makes the West great is that we do good after evil, not evil after evil.
It's not about the being in the cells. No, it's not about. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Got it.
Thank you. So it's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person. I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't care. No, listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right now until it is formed. If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby is 2 weeks in utero,
can't get pregnant.
Actually they have, and they have given birth. There is one recorded case of a 5-year-old girl.
Lena Medina of Peru gave a birth via C-section at 5 years old. The father's identity is unknown. The pregnancy was possible because he was sexually developed, which some call a precocious puberty. That is like a medical phenomenon, okay? That's not the norm. Why the are they fact checking? This is the only time they're fact checking, like as though this is a normal thing that happens all the time. Horrifying. Charlie Kirk said, what makes the West great is if my 10-year-old daughter gets raped, I will force her to carry a pregnancy to term. Okay? That's insane. Why are we letting him just say those things without shoving those words down his throat?
Correct.
gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, it's common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and if they get pregnant, I think they should be able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many? I'm curious.
I hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Okay, so that is really nasty, and so her belief system.
By the way, she will. Like, this happens so frequently with conservatives. That's why it probably hurts his feelings. Because he knows deep down inside that when he keeps this shit up, like, inevitably his daughter is going to despise him.
Just so we're clear, is that...
The time's up.
Yeah, no, I got it. It's fine. I mean, it's insanely nasty, and we'll talk again. My next...
Oh, it's insanely nasty. Dude, I personally think it's insanely nasty to say the West is great because we force 10-year-olds who are victims of pedophilic rape to carry pregnancies to term. I think that's significantly nastier than anything that woman could have said to you. Okay? I think at that point, it's no holds barred. You can say whatever the you want to a person that says that. Okay? That's it. Maybe I'm crazy, but when those words come out of your mouth, you are a freak.
Next claim is that college is a scam.
Oh, God.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Maddox. How are you
Nice to
doing?
meet you. Good.
So, college is a scam.
Well, let's define our terms. College being traditional four-year college.
Of course.
University, not community college or technical college.
Of course.
A scam, if we can agree on a definition, is where a majority of people who will go through the institution or business, they're not getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and they're being deceived when they sign up. So do we agree on those terms?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Well, further definitions, what do you think is the purpose of going to college?
The purpose of college should be a traditional liberal arts education, the pursuit of what is good, true, and beautiful.
Okay.
That's not what it is. It should be the betterment of yourself and your soul, nurturing your character and becoming a better citizen, understanding the deeper things in life.
I mean, it usually does. That's why Republicans are against it. Like, literally. The biggest reason why Republicans don't want college education and are regularly anti-college education is straight up because it churns out more Democratic Party voters. That's it. Statistically speaking, you have a higher likelihood of being a Democratic Party voter than a Republican one if you get a college education. There's a multitude of different reasons for this. One, in my opinion, one of the most significant, it's not because like a college education fucking instills like critical thinking skills in you or anything like that. It literally is, for the most part, putting you in a very diverse environment. Sometimes that's all it takes. That's it. That straight up is. The major reason for why college educated people are more often Democratic Party voters is the exact same reason why urban people living in urban areas are more likely to be Democratic voters than people living in the suburbs and, more importantly, rural voters. It's because they are in proximity to black and brown people. They get exposure to black and brown people, gay people, and that's literally terrifying. Diverse? You literally went to Harvard? What do you mean? It is diverse. Same argument you make about Ivy Leagues? Yeah. What the fuck are we talking about? The entire affirmative action debate. While it was happening, colleges were like, no, we like this. We like having, like, we enjoy having a diverse learning environment because society is diverse. Also, I went to Rutgers, dog. What do you mean Harvard? Which is the Harvard of New Jersey. No, that's not Princeton. You should just ask him, did you go to college? If he says yes, he would answer, well, then I agree with you. Wait, what? No, he didn't. Charlie did not go to college. He famously is, I think, a high school dropout, as a matter of fact. It's kind of funny, though, for Charlie, because like he spent his entire career trying to manipulate student elections. A person who claims that like a black woman took his his application to West Point. I know the backstory. He tried to go to West Point and claimed falsely that a black woman took his slot that he deserved due to affirmative action. Okay, and that's why he never went to college. He also wrote a Breitbart article. Well, he wrote a high school essay I forget what it was about, but he wrote a high school essay about like some racist bullshit, and then Breitbart published it, and then Fox News immediately was like, oh, this is a young guy who's saying like really dumb Republican things. We should elevate him. And then he turned around and went to Foster Freeze, rest in piss, okay, right-wing donor to the Republican Party, and his dad, I think, is a developer. And Foster Freeze, his dad used to work with him as a construction guy, okay, like his dad owns a construction business, I believe. So he had access to the Foster Freeze, and he basically spent his entire life from that point on begging wealthy old men for money so that he could manipulate them into thinking that he represents the youth vote and that he can turn young people conservative. He has never been able to do that. It's just it's another NGO scam. It's another 501c3 scam, Turning Point USA. How do you know his backstory so intricately? Because I debated him twice. And also at the time when I was debating him, he was like seen as my, like the Republican version of me, basically. Which was really funny because like, and I mean, this goes to show that like conservatives love putting their commentators through like this, conservatives love taking like random people that demonstrate conservative points of view and making them famous and paid operatives of the party. Democrats do not do that ever. If they did that, they would at least do it for like Harry Hasan or whatever, but they don't even do that for Harry Hasan. Think about it this way. A guy that like came into prominence through AstroTurf, through like basically setting up a fund to farm old wealthy Republican mega donors by duping them into believing that he can like change the outcome of like college campus elections and whatever, and manipulate student body government politics, has at this point created this massive, robust network and regularly hangs out with the former president. Meanwhile, I, on the other hand, can't even get an Obama interview. I wonder why. Maybe because I'm not a paid hack.
At the very least, though, it should be preparing one for the job market. Do you think college does those things?
I think it does, but I would add on to your point that I think not only is it for the betterment of yourself, but it's for the betterment of society. We need historians. We need certain majors that may not make as much money. I think those are for the betterment of society. Would you agree that there's some majors that may not?
Wait, can't now? Was it fully canceled? No, it was not. No. The Obama interview is not off. I was just memeing. Like, we just weren't able to put it together at the DNC, though. Especially hilarious that they focus on student council elections because after the encampment movement, universities basically abandoned any pretense of co-governance and are just throwing these groups away. Yeah.
Make money, but are still essential to society.
It depends. Do you think that...
I want everybody to be college educated so they have a better... they get a leg up when they are entering the same shitty workforce, okay? So they can have disposable income and spend $6 a month at the Hasanabi broadcast. It's a win-win-win, okay? And I like that. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Why is my thermostat off in the middle of the hottest goddamn day? I'm losing my mind in California. Jesus Christ. Anyway, like I said, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Let's get
getting a degree in gender studies is good for society?
I would agree, yeah. Why would...
Why? Yeah, why wouldn't it be good for society? Gender studies. What do you mean? What the f are you talking about? Why would it be bad?
Studying.
Not everybody has to college. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Still should be free though.
Gender not be good for society.
Well, learning that men can give birth is not exactly a good use of time, is it?
Is that what they're teaching in college right now?
A lot of colleges, yeah. According to the Center for Disease Control, they no longer say women can give birth. They say birthing persons.
Okay.
Do you think men can give birth?
Do I think men can give birth? I think that...
yes or no question?
I think that a person who is assigned male at birth, I don't think they can give birth.
Assigned male at birth? So people are not male at birth?
I think that a person...
See, your evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
College is a scam?
You're lacking in a lot of wisdom.
Well, here, we can continue right now. So, gender studies, do you think that studying gender is not essential? Should we not deepen our understanding of gender?
I don't think gender... We're going to get there later. I don't think gender exists. I think that there are 2 sexes, infinite personalities, and no genders. However, let's get back to the core contention.
Well, here, can I ask my question again real quick?
Well, I want to get back to my core contention. A scam So the majority of kids that go to college, if they end up getting a job at all, they end up getting a job that does not require a college degree.
Do you think that certain jobs that may not associate with a direct major can incorporate skills that you learn from a major? I think I'm an econ major, and depending on what job I do in the future, I can still use the skills learned from that.
So tell me about Milton Friedman.
Tell me about Milton Friedman. He is an economist from...
How about Thomas Sowell?
Thomas Sowell.
Ludwig von Mises.
Well, I will say that I'm a first year.
How about
I'd love to see you answer the gender studies question.
We will get there later. That's what psychedelics are for. Who's next?
Well, I think it's difficult to think about just one major, thinking about just gender studies. Like, sure, like not everyone should be a gender studies major. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need everything. However, why does it matter if 10 people want to be a gender studies major and it matters to them? Like, not everyone can be a lawyer, not everyone can be a doctor. There needs to be some people, and you know what? Yeah, it sucks that some people do go to college and get a degree and then they end up not in a workforce for that. But I don't think that has to do with like college was a scam. It's more like maybe that just wasn't the path for them, or that life choice was just too hard to get for them. But some people are able to go to college and get a degree and use it, and that is super important, because imagine if no doctors went to college, they're just like, I think I can do it.
Well, of course, doctors and lawyers need credentialing, right? But
college.
Well, less than 5% of all people that go to college end up studying medicine or in legal. The vast majority go into soft social sciences, communications, or the humanities. So you're in college, or have been, is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you forced to take classes that you think are a waste of time?
Yeah, I'm forced.
Okay,
you know what?
Hold on. So they're taking your money and they're forcing you that they're a waste of time. That's kind of...
Dude, why would you say yes? Just don't say yes to that. No, it's ridiculous. It's supposed to make you, like, in theory, the goal is to make you a critical thinker who is well-rounded. Why the fuck are you saying yes to that? Also, because it's true, no, dude, no, it's not. Okay? It's just like this is the classic dumb guy argument. Oh, why don't they teach us taxes in school? Instead, they teach us calculus. It's like, shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. Technically, nobody actually follows through on the actual classes and like literally does the study. And obviously, the current Common Core curriculum is far from the best. But the theory behind it is so that you become a more well-rounded person, okay? But like the idea that college is a scam because you don't get to pick and choose your classes that are taught to you is so silly.
Scammy, right?
Oh, I think that some classes.
Ooh, some. So you have to probably go in debt, right?
Depends.
Okay. Are you going into debt?
No.
Okay, well that's good.
I picked a school that actually offered me a scholarship.
Oh, so someone else is paying for your college.
Oh, I don't know. Depends on me. I mean, that.
Wait, what? Does bro think that poor people shouldn't get college educated? Oh, you got a scholarship, so someone else is paying for your college. Dog, someone else has paid for your entire existence. Like, if it wasn't for Republican Party mega donors that created your astroturfing operation, you'd still be chirping about how a black woman took your role over at West Point at the shitty-ass local bar that you frequent every goddamn day. Shut the fuck up. That's crazy, bro. He just said scholarship, so someone else is paying for college. Yeah, okay, so what?
No, I'm sorry.
School that wanted to give me an opportunity, but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, we're talking about the scam element, right? So you said that there are some classes that if students had to go into debt or had to pay for, would not be a good use of their time. So it's not representing students well.
Well, do you think like high school is a scam then? Because I had to pay for high school, but I'm not going to use AP US history in my psychology degree ever.
Well, I think AP US history is actually a really good use of time, knowing about your country and your history. And
well, but I'm not going to use that in my career.
I like this so much. So much of conservative argumentation literally revolves around you consent, other party consents, but I don't consent. Oh, so when Charlie decides a class is important, you have to learn it. Got it. Thanks, man. We should just let you be the God King. That's such a crazy, like, that's literally all he's doing. This narcissistic asshole is just sitting there being like, oh, I'm the decider. Sorry. Like, what the f- do you mean?
Career. That's what we're talking about in the career path for college.
Let's go back to what I said, right? We said traditional college, right? Four-year college, and what a scam is.
Also, he's pro AP history because he has to signal that he loves American history or whatever. But he's also shitting on the soft sciences. Like, okay, so you know, people can get history majors. Like, you're fine with that? Like, I don't understand. So it's just gender studies that you have issue with? Like, it makes no sense.
Or a majority of the people that will go through the enterprise, the business, or the institution are not getting their time worth or their money worth. So therefore, I go back to my core contention, which is a majority of kids that exit college will not use their degree at all when they go to find a job.
But if you ask them, do you think college was a scam? I don't think majority of them are going to say yes. Some of them will. Some of them are going to
not everyone who's being scammed actively knows they're being scammed. People still buy erectile dysfunction drugs off the internet. And they get scammed.
Okay, that's their own personal choice, though.
Of course, people have choices to be scammed. I'm not saying they don't have a choice. I'm making an observation analysis of the institution. For example, flying Spirit Airlines, kind of a scam.
Okay.
Should be shut down. There is some, yeah, you kind of agree. There are some things in life we have to take a step back and like, oh, the consumer is not being well served.
You want to shut down a bunch of majors in colleges that you think are scams?
No, I never said that.
So what would your proposal be to fix the scam of college?
There is no proposal. I'm simply, the contention is college is a scam.
So then what's the point of that statement?
To get you to agree.
But like, what would that?
Oh, so he's just here to chirp for the sake of the argument. He's just here to debate for the spirit of the debate. Debate brain, dude. Did Charlie get scammed into buying ED pills? No ED pills is gonna help. I love this. Yeah, I'm just here to talk shit, actually. I'm just here to say college is a scam. Here, the counter argument to this is very simple, okay? A college degree in the overwhelming majority of circumstances offers you additional technical proficiency. It makes you into a more productive labor force. You, as an American who says you want America to be the #1 nation on the planet, are actively working to make the American population dumber. Okay, by claiming that college is a scam, you are actively trying to make our labor force less competitive and less productive. You also then simultaneously complain about like immigrants coming over into the United States of America, either by way of HB1 visas or, you know, by becoming visa overstayers or directly crossing the border. And the irony here is that you are ensuring that the American labor force is no longer as competitive nor as productive in comparison to our counterparts. China is stealing our lunch money. All these other countries have significantly better educated populations, and they have more productive labor forces. And America will lose out on the technical proficiency once it is no longer the #1 place for the brain drain. I think if someone said that in China, Xi will have him killed. That's why it's like, how can you not be pro-China when you hear stuff like that? You know what I mean? Xi Jinping would send Charlie Kirk on an Alibaba-style, Bossing Say style course for a month. He'd come back singing the praises of Mao. You know what I mean? Relegate him to the countryside. Make him work in a labor camp. Rehabilitate him. And then release him back into society as a loyal servant of the party, a party that represents the interests of the people.
Do like, what do you want to fix in college that's going to help it not be a scam?
We can get to step interval 2 as long as you can agree that college is a scam.
No, because not for everyone. For me, I'm using a degree that's going to help people make better.
What are you studying?
Psychology and criminal justice.
Okay, so and it's being paid for by somebody else, which is fine. That's good. So psychology and criminal justice. Do you absolutely need to get a degree to be able to get into this? Like you do?
Yeah, I mean, like I could, I guess, study it all on my own, but it's just like makes more sense to go and have all these experiences. I'm getting like wonderful experiences, internships all through my college.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about sending him to the rice fields, dude. Oh my God. Can you imagine? God, what a beautiful world this would be if you could just like literally send reactionary conservatives to the countryside to develop the country land, you know? Just toil the land for a couple years, bro. Get a nice little peasant wife, have some kids, cool down a little bit. You know what I mean? Enough with this weird nonsense. I can't stop thinking about this. Bro, you need a foundation for psychology. Is he dumb? Yes. The answer is yes. Yes. The answer is yes, he is dumb. He's actually presenting himself as even dumber than he actually is, but he is dumb as well. So his starting point is dumb, and he's also presenting himself as even dumber than he actually is. Agreed, but it will be clip chimped to what? You're going to clip chimp me to say an argument that like everyone will agree with? I don't understand this. This is why it's like very frustrating when like dumbass boner chelly dick riders will be like, Hasan wants re-education camps. It's like, bro, you mean to tell me you don't fantasize about putting conservatives, like reactionaries like Charlie Kirk in re-education camps. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, hit him with the Puyi stare, dude. Like, that's so sick. That's a beautiful society. And it's not fun. Deng will say his time in exile was awful. Same with Xi. It sucks having to go out in the sticks, but it's good for you. Yeah, look at Xi. Look at Xi. Xi Jinping is a beneficiary of this system, okay? Are you on the team?
I tell you, I've been taken up to the third heaven. I've been jacked into the big plan. I see it.
My favorite version of this meme was like conservatives inventing Maoism. I saw that tweet. I think I might have even posted this. Please do not insult the great Chairman Xi by comparing Charlie Kirk to him. Xi uplifts my people. Kirk uplifts his own insecurities. Nowhere near equals. Yeah, that's why I said he'd be like a Puyi style. Anyway, have you guys seen that tweet where it's like conservatives invented Maoism? Oh, here it is. Concept. Every American citizen has to do at least one season of farm work on our farms. No more importing workers. It will be a national duty. Everyone is drafted to one season of farm labor in their life between the ages of 18 and 30. All other factors of life support this season. You could trick Republicans with Maoist sentiments so easily. You could talk about the countryside. The countryside surrounds the cities. Like, that's literally straight up. Republicans love LARPing in that regard. You know what I mean? You could get Republicans duped with Maoism easily. Maoist MAGA, yeah. MAGA communism. How about Maoist MAGA? MAGAoist. Political power comes at the barrel of a gun. Unironically, every time Brace talks about Maoism on TrueAnon, I think it's the way for America. It literally is the absolute worst idea for America overall, because no American would subscribe to it, because it would need to be like a peasant-backed movement. And considering that the large majority of the American working class are still labor aristocrats, absolutely zero of them would be on board with this because their material conditions are exactly the opposite. All of the worst aspects of the Cultural Revolution are things that we already do to ourselves right now without any of the good stuff. We already do struggle sessions on a daily basis for the dumbest shit too. Conservatives do it for not being sufficiently conservative. They're like, "Oh, it seems you are pro-gay marriage. You saw a gay person and decided that they are not immediately morally degenerate. You will get flogged now, okay?" They're just a hater. My mom is 70s USSR born, and she used to tell me about how students would all collectively go to the countryside to farm potatoes and stuff. So in general, it's not a concept inherent to Maoism. No, I know. I just think it's funny to say is Maoism. Hasan, I'm in the video. Congratulations, Maddie. Maddie G 428. I'm the girl in the green with the blonde hair. Did you cook? You better not have made me look bad. I believe in you. I believe in all of you. I hope you guys destroyed this cretin.
So
that's helping me go through it. No, it's just that this is a pathway that's really helping me.
So you know there's 11 million jobs open in the country right now that don't require a college degree.
Okay, then the people who want those jobs can go get those jobs. I am not one of those people.
Do you think we push too many kids into college?
No.
Okay, so the national graduation rate is 59%.
Dude, what do you mean? Like we push too many people to college? Like, what are you talking about? Educational attainment is not a pursuit that should be pushed aside. Like, it is objectively a good thing. It makes the labor force more productive. It makes people more interesting. It makes people better read. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And also, then you use the 59% number. Like, yeah, it's because it's expensive as fuck, dog. Make college free. Please, my people yearn for more education. It's like the one, dude, it's the one thing that China historically has had locked the fuck down that even Americans recognize is the importance of education. I mean, these were operating like bureaucratic structures thousands of years ago. Okay, they were locked in on that front. Not everybody has to go to college though. Sure, but make it free. Make it free. I mean, to be honest, I would make it mandatory. I'm a advocate for that too. I think you should make it mandatory. It doesn't have to just be college in the way that you understand it. It could be a trade school or something. But like, yeah, I think educational attainment beyond high school is a necessity. Learn a trade. If you can't do anything else, learn a trade. It should also be free. And not only should it be free, actually, it should be paid. Yeah. No, like, dude, no. Mandatory higher education. It could be trade. It could be an associate's degree. It could be a bachelor degree, liberal arts, whatever the it is, okay? It should be paid. It should be mandatory. It should absolutely happen, all right? And then when you get that educational attainment for free, or even if you get paid for it, even better, then you have to serve. Not in the military, of course, but serve in the actual place that you were slotted into in terms of like what you wanted to pursue. You get a doctorate for free. You have to go work in the countryside, okay? Through a lottery system. Now, if what I'm saying to you comes across as like insane, well, newsflash, that's how it works in the developed world. Every other country where education is free and they have a free healthcare structure or a nationalized healthcare structure literally does this, okay? That is precisely what every country does, and that is what is supposed to happen here as well, but we are so stupid in this goddamn nation. Oh, bro, we don't even have free education, and this is what happens to teachers and doctors? I mean, yeah, it should also be free, though. What do you mean, what happens if you cannot serve once you have received your education? Like, there's no world. Then you have to pay for it. I don't think anybody ever does that anyway, unless there's like some kind of disability. Yeah. Germany has the best carpenters, etc., and we get paid for learning it. Exactly. Germany was the example I was thinking of when I was thinking of like trade schools being paid for. Like, not only is it not free, it's free, and on top of that, you have to pay. You get paid by the government to go get this education. That's what normal countries do, by the way. That's what countries do. They look at like what is a necessity in the workforce. They look at how to create the most productive labor force you can possibly get, and then they put positive incentives to certain aspects of the labor force that need more workers. No, that's wrong. Wait, what do you mean? Don't they pay you to go to college in Germany? Am I wrong about that? In Denmark, they do. There is BAföG. You can get to pay for the semester tuition round out about 300 euros. I think that overall they should look at what aspects of the labor force need more hands and focus on additional incentives in that regard. And they should pay you to get to learn a trade or pay you to get a college education in general. Nah, if you're poor, you get enough to live. This guy is rich or something. That's not what BAföG is. It's governmental support that you have to pay back that depends on how much your parents make. They pay PhD students who get certain scholarships, not all students. It's still better than most of Europe. Both countries offer free tuition. The specific financial support systems differ slightly. Denmark's SU program provides a more direct financial aid package for students, while Germany's system relies more on scholarships and grants. In Germany, they do, but there's a big asterisk with it. You have to qualify for it. And the schools in Germany are nothing like the ones in America. There are not a lot of student programs. And a lot of the flowery stuff colleges do here. What is the flowery stuff? I think it's really funny because like everybody always just talks about like gender studies, which is still valid. You know what I mean? Like, but that's it. Or if you're talking about a lot of the bloat in American higher education, like sports programs and shit, in which case you're absolutely right. American colleges have infinite bloat, okay? It is nastiness. Yeah. Anyway, I am working at the university as a student, get only $520, with which I can rent just right and get financial help from Germany, living money for rent. I still struggle to get the money for tuition every 6 months. I'm just saying it's still a better process than what you have to do in the United States of America, which is like in the same situation. Not to say that your situation is great, Chatter. I'm just saying now compare that to the United States of America for like, because the principle is correct, right? The government wants you to get this education, okay? So they're trying to make it easier for you to do so. In the United States of America, technically, we want people to be more educated, okay? We want a more productive labor force. And then we literally not only do not pay them, not only do we not make it free, but we also, on top of that, put people into lifelong debt. But of course, that makes you a more loyal servant because you have to pay off that debt. A few years ago, I paid less than $300, but the biggest part of the tuition for Germany-wide public transport ticket, $200. The rest is student council services.
If I asked the room, everyone would agree that they know some people that went to college that did not graduate.
Yeah.
Right? So we're probably sending too many kids into this institution.
But if they might have been able to do it, then like, why is it not worth it to try and to push yourself to get a better education and go further in your life?
Leaving with debt's a bad thing, right?
but some people are able to work through that. And it's like an opportunity thing.
But when an institution is multi-trillion dollars in scale, involves 20.
Victoria Nuland says about as clearly as a diplomat can that the U.S. scuttled a peace deal on the table in March 2022 because it would have required Ukraine to agree limits on weapons it would purchase. How many have died since then and for what? Guys, I don't want to do the I told you so hour, okay? We're going to move on from this. We'll look at that later, okay?
23 million of our citizens every 4 years and is not actually bettering the country. For example, if college was so great, we would see incomes going up for Gen Z and millennials. We'd see more people able to own homes. Okay. Kids wouldn't. I'm telling you, this is so ableist what you're doing, by the way. I'm telling you, right? Hello, what's your name?
Alize.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so let me start by saying, well, first of all, you said we're sending too many kids to college. Who's sending them? Who's forcing them?
Guidance counselors, parents, community.
Are they forcing them? Are they signing them up themselves?
Hold on. Forcing, I never said forcing, but you can have nudging and forcing are two different things. We also subsidize college through the federal government. So you guys get subsidized interest rates, scholarships, and loans. So the taxpayer is nudging students and gently and sometimes forcefully pushing them into college. And you would agree it is an expectation if you grow up in a upper middle class home to go to college. You would agree with that. So there's a societal cultural push.
I didn't grow up in an upper middle class, so.
Okay, well, but would you see it from there? Would you see how that argument?
Dude, Charlie's such a cope lord. He dropped out of community college and never even stepped foot in a university. He doesn't even know what it's like. No, he does. He's like even grosser than that. He dropped out of community college and then literally set up an entire 501c3, Turning Point USA, to go to college campuses and yell at the students there and to try to literally lobby those campuses into having a more right-wing student body government. Okay? That's insane. It is like it is the biggest weirdo behavior that you can engage in.
Is correct.
I guess there might be a pressure, but no one's sending them. You're sending yourself.
Well, of course.
Well, we're all over the age of 18, right?
Right.
When you're in college, so you're sending yourself.
Right.
But that's besides the
point.
point.
Let's be honest. I mean, that's a silly argument.
Not a 501c3, sorry, 501c4.
Yes, they're technically send them.
I don't know. The Turning Point USA, I mean, it's like a charitable contribution.
Themselves. I was just at Arizona State University move-in. Everyone had their parents there. They were co-signing on loans. They were there helping pay for stuff. Parents, the ones that are still checking in. They're the ones that largely subsidize their lifestyle. Hey, mom, can you vend me?
He was just at ASU. Wait, what the? Charlie Kirk age. Damn, dog. At a certain point, you should just stop trying to go to these colleges and talk to the students about how they should be right-wing. You know what I mean? Stop interfering in student government elections at the age of 30.
Venmo me $3,000 so that I can go out an extra night. Yes, of course, when you're 18 years old, you're the one signing on.
It is kind of crazy to think that Charlie Kirk is younger than me by 3 years. Yeah. I am older than Charlie Kirk. Hate ages you, okay? I love going to college campuses where the freshmen are moving in.
On the dotted line, but there's enormous pressure and nudging and cultural expectation that students go to college.
Right. Okay. I think the problem here is that it's up to the person. You can't just go to college and expect to come out with a degree. You have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. You have to make connections. And some people might think college is just 4 years of partying and drinking and making friends, whatever. But you have to.
I hate this conversation. It's just so dumb. Okay. Education is not a scam. Okay. Because when you say college is a scam, that's all you're saying. You're saying education is a scam. You're picking and choosing what kind of education is good and what kind of education is bad. He himself is recognizing that, by the way, in the conversation, because he keeps saying, well, you have to get some level of credential to be a doctor. It's like, okay, well, then you don't have an issue with college. Suck my dick. Okay. It's just so stupid. Like, overall, in the United States of America, the only reason why college is a quote unquote scam is because it's inflated. Okay. It should be free. That's it. It should be free. The price is a scam. It should be free, especially state institutions. If you want to have some private institutions on the side, go ahead. Fine. But overall, there should be free state institutions. Why is no one saying this? And then put him on the back foot to be like, you think education is a scam? College is education. Why do you think education is a scam when you already recognize that credentials are necessary for becoming a doctor, for example, or becoming an engineer, becoming an architect? Do you think that these are not necessary credentials? You keep using the term credential, but credential is another word for education. You're just trying to swap out education for different words in order to avoid the reality in front of you that you also recognize that education is a necessity for a productive labor force. That's it. A competitive labor force in the international marketplace. America should have one. It's the wealthiest nation on the planet.
Actually put the work in, and if you put the work in, you make connections, and you can find a job right outside of college.
Well, no, not doubting that you can't find a job. It's just that 52% of them get a job.
So it's a scam currently until it's free? No, it's still not a scam. Education is not a scam, okay? Education is not a scam. When people say 52% of colleges college graduates end up in jobs where the degrees aren't required and are considered underemployed, according to an analysis from the Burning Class Institute and Strata Education Foundation, that is not the fault of people getting educational attainment. Yeah, the debt is the scam part. The education is not.
A job that doesn't require them to get the degree.
But most jobs offer incentive pay if you have a degree. And 86% of people with a degree get paid more than people with just a high school diploma.
That's only if you count the ones at the top 10% of income earners. So not if you count humanities, not if you count people that study in the social sciences. If you count medicine or you count law, that's absolutely correct. However, the vast majority of kids that go...
So I don't get it. So Charlie's worldview is that, like, again, only things that I think are good need to be allowed in colleges, and things that I think are bad should not be allowed in colleges. Also, how do you skip the first step and just get a law degree or a degree in medicine? You have to still get an undergraduate. You have to still get a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Sciences in order to pursue higher education, to be able to get a law degree, to be able to get a medical degree. So I don't really understand this argument. Then college is not a scam, I guess. He's very intimidating in person. We didn't know we would be debating him until right before. I don't think he's that intimidating in person, but I understand why you could potentially think that. He does have a very weird look to him. Like, his face is all up. So I get it. Also, yeah, a law degree is humanities. I am one of the very few political science majors who actually uses their degree to a certain degree. But it is really odd that he's just sitting here being like, nah, college is a scam, when it's basically what he means is education is a scam.
Go to college are not studying medicine, law, engineering, business, finance. They're studying communications, social sciences, or humanities, which are on the lower income ladder. So as I mentioned, we have 11 million job openings in this country right now that do not require a college degree. I'm guessing in this room that within 4 to 5 years.
Also, another part of the problem is, like, you get a well-rounded education when you get a Bachelor of Arts, okay? You learn hard sciences and humanities in the process. It is a good thing. If you get the STEM lords to only focus on STEM with no humanities education, they become the neurodivergent Jordan Peterson fans that are the most annoying type of person you've ever experienced, okay? I know, because many are the STEM lord former Jordan Peterson fans that are now in this community that luckily have a better understanding of the humanities now. Okay, that's how you get a guy like Jordan Peterson to dupe so many people, because they just have no interest or no understanding of any of that shit. He's in a communication degree job. Yeah, that's also, I mean, I guess he could say, well, I didn't go to college, but I still have a comm degree job. So even if you are personally getting a degree in something and then going into a field that has nothing to do with the degree that you got, you still got a well-rounded education overall. It's what you make of it, ultimately, right? College is what you make of it. Like, you can learn a lot, you can get a decent education, or you can cheat your way through it. Doesn't really matter, ultimately. But to say that these people are not using it, using their degrees, is stupid.
You guys would kill to be able to earn $80 to $100,000 a year, yes? Do you know that in states across the country and in cities, they're offering apprenticeships to become plumbers and welders, electricians? That doesn't require for your college degree. Entrance salary, $80,000 a year.
But again, 86% of people with a bachelor's degree earn more than people with a high school diploma. No, 86% of all people with a bachelor's degree.
But if you take out the top 10%, it's actually lower than those that don't go to college. So the reason that number, that average goes up, is because the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers are the ones that bring that average so significantly up. But let me ask you a question. that do you think that there's any waste at all in the current college model?
Do I think there's any waste? I don't think we need all of it.
Okay, good. What part?
Well, you have to start with your core classes. And it's like high school. You're taking the same classes in
So do you
in high
think,
school.
like, for example, do you think that... It's okay. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
I'm Emily. Nice to meet you.
Emily. Thank you.
Earlier said that about 5% of college students are going into fields of like medicine, law, and engineering,
Let me clarify.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
as far as they are going to be able to get postgraduate degrees. So they will go all the way up and get their Juris Master, or they will end up passing the bar or becoming a doctor, right?
Okay.
So it's easy to say doctors, lawyers,
Yeah.
but healthcare professionals, if you count nurses or people that work in healthcare, that number is closer to 20-25%.
Okay, so 5%. Who here has a doctor? Can you like raise your hand if you have a doctor?
Like a medical
doctor, yeah. Like a medical
yes, I do,
doctor.
yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay. 5% is still a lot of people, right?
Of course, but
Yeah.
that means 95% might not need to exist at the institution.
I don't think that's the takeaway. Just because 5%, which is still millions of Americans
Wait,
all
hold on a
across the
second.
board.
But if you were to say, hey, we only have medical schools, only have legal, we can get rid
Oh,
of gender
no.
studies, get
Yeah.
rid of... So what's the contention?
Well, gender studies is actually, if you look on like the pre-law track, gender studies is a pre-law track. If
Got
you're
it.
going to be a lawyer, you have to study gender studies and other social
That proves
cultural
my
studies.
point that college is a scam. Why
Why?
would
Why is that a problem? Why is that? Does Charlie Kirk understand what gender studies is? Like, I took a gender studies class in college. It's just like, I don't get it. I don't know why he's like why he's so pissed off about it. You know, learning about like different ways of feminism is not gonna harm you. Don't worry. Like, this is the issue. This is the issue. Okay. Charlie doesn't even understand law school. He called it a Juris Master. Like, gender studies is a class that they offer. Most of the time it's a part of the common curriculum that you get in your freshman courses. And it's a good class to have as an introductory course. Okay? It is. Charlie just doesn't agree with it. That's the problem. Because for Charlie, it's like, if I don't agree with it, you shouldn't learn it at all, which I think is ridiculous.
Why would a lawyer need to study gender studies? Shouldn't a lawyer know the law?
It's a social science. The law, you think the law isn't inadvertently affected by social, cultural, and gender norms?
Of course it is, but shouldn't they first know the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers?
We learned that
Wait, what? They don't teach that? Does this guy think that they don't teach that? God, he's so stupid. What an idiot he is, dude. Duh, you should learn about the Constitution. Yeah, they don't teach that. Half of this conversation would not happen if this person ironically went to college, by the way. Like, if you had just gone to college, you would know that half of these arguments are just idiotic.
High school.
Okay, so what is Marbury versus Madison?
I haven't been in high school for a really long time. I'm not trying to be a lawyer.
You learned it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, high schools are like, it's public high
What was
school.
Brown versus the Board of Education?
That's for desegregation.
Wait, what the? What is happening here? Don't let him get away with this shit. Don't answer his questions. That's not the point of contention. What are you talking about? Like, you're going to let him do a pop quiz? What the? He just hit him with he hit him with the, oh, you read, name 5 books on the spot.
Segregating schools.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Which project?
Okay, good. No. Get back to the point.
2025 wants to like defund the
Right.
Department of
So
Education.
who wrote the Constitution?
Founding Fathers, 1778. I don't know.
It wasn't 1778.
I don't know.
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Dude, you're talking to a guy who has not done anything but study talking points and also methods of dominating a conversation. This is what he does. Okay? This is all he does. This is not relevant to the point of contention here. Okay? Stick to the college is a scam shit. Mr. Red Herring, by the way. Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, this is the point, is that you don't learn it in high school. You don't even learn it in undergraduate. And our law school's not learning it. So maybe...
Well, I'm not in law school.
No, the point is that you were saying they already learned it, and they don't. I don't want this to be a pop quiz or trivia. I didn't go to college, and I'm asking you very basic civic questions, and you're paying to go to college, and you can't answer them.
That's so fair. But I think...
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, Charlie demonstrates that he doesn't understand a higher education because it's not about memorizing facts and talking points. It's about changing how you think and interact with the world. Well, I think he does understand that. Deep down, I think he understands that very well. That's precisely why he doesn't want people to, learn that. This dog was just outside with my trainer and my trainer's 2 dogs, and she is dying right now. She's wet as hell. Little Kaya break from all this madness. Okay. What's up? Hi. Hi. You have a good time? She's breathing so heavy. Let's get back to Okay, that's an alpha dog move right there. The other dude literally threw himself at the chair, and this guy was like, nah, I'm still gonna sit there. Respect. These TikTok twinks do not play around. Okay, let me tell you something. They do not play around, dude. They're like, I love this shit. I love debates.
I have a question. Is church a scam?
No, because church is honoring the divine and the internal and the good in the church.
Lame ass. No, church is not a scam. It honors the divine. Shut up, bitch. Ugly ass bitch. Oh my God.
True and the beautiful.
No, it's honoring the divine.
Is college.
But it deceives people because you give a promise of everlasting life, which you don't actually get because Christianity is.
Dude, holy. The r/atheism is jumping out.
Contradictory, logically speaking.
Do you want to get into a theological debate, or are we going to talk about college? Because I completely disagree. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and we will have eternal life.
Okay, so how, if there is a perfect being that created the world, how could we exist in an imperfect world?
I'm happy to have this discussion. Can we go back to college, though? Because do you think, because that's a little bit of a red herring and a little bit of a rabbit hole, tell me what that has to do with college being a scam.
Well, I do think college can be a scam for certain people. I don't think it's a scam for everyone. So for people like me, college was very beneficial for me.
For sure.
Who is it a scam? I'm asking you, based upon your definition of a scam, do you consider the Christian church a scam?
Of course not. It's giving people eternal life and teaches them goodness.
But if Christianity is false, then that's a deception.
Okay, but you think it's false. I don't. We can agree to disagree. Also,
I'm not agreeing to disagree on that.
But we're not talking about the church. We're talking about college, right? So again, also people are not paying to go to.
Okay, but like he's not wrong. You disagree that the church is a scam. He thinks it is. You disagree you think that college is a scam. He disagrees. Like, okay, it's just a belief. This argument is really dumb. I don't think they should have put the college as a scam shit in there. Cause like Charlie literally admitted that he does not care about this other than the fact that he wants to prove that college is a scam. He's not really proving anything in this situation.
The church,
but it's a reductio ad absurdum. You know what that is?
Ask the question.
What's a reductio ad absurdum?
That's a Latin term that means reducing down to the lowest common belief, correct?
Yeah, so I'm taking
Am I right? I didn't go to college, I knew that.
I'm taking your particular position.
Let me ask you a question without you interrupting me. Do you pay to go to church?
No, I don't. Some people do. They're forced to pay based upon their particular denomination.
And today, do you pay to go to church?
Depending on the church.
No, you don't. Do you have to go to debt to go to church?
In some circumstances, people do.
Wait, oh my God, please, dude, please just ask him. So you'd be fine if college was free because the state subsidizes churches too. Because like if he turns around and goes, oh, well, this fucking college, church is free, college is not. Okay, then I want college to be free. Oh God, his face is so ugly. Oh my God. Okay, college should be free. The state subsidizes churches. They should also subsidize colleges, which it already does. It should be free.
Because they have to give up 10% of their income to be able to do that, which people can't afford.
Circumstance?
Well, they're LDS. You understand that a lot of LDS churches specifically require 10%.
Yeah, they don't require it. And what you're
talking
about
in plenty of places.
Well, you're asking mainline Christian.
Isn't there stigmatization
belief
if you don't do that?
Damn, he said Mormons ain't real Christians. God damn. He's saying they ain't mainline Christian.
Okay, you're good at interrupting, not good at answering.
Well, you haven't answered any of my questions yet.
I did say no, church is not a scam. Church is the bride of Christ. College is a scam. And college is, people are going into debt. They're paying a lot of money. But I want.
Bro, he sounds like such a freak all the time. I can't take him seriously. Church is a bride of Christ, dude. Holy, what a statement.
I ask you a question. You said it's a scam for some people. Who's it a scam for?
Yeah, for people who specifically aren't ever going to use it, never use any of the knowledge that they retain from it. Well, you say 52%. I don't think you can qualify 52% of people don't do that.
What number would you say?
For example, my job, that's not going to be recommended as an economics degree. Most economics majors are going to go into TikTok debating online. But I use the information that I learned in college in my job on a daily basis. So I still use relevant qualities that are then used in my job later on.
What percentage of kids that go to college are being scammed? Can you
I don't think anyone knows that.
Can you
Because it's dependent upon an individual. I have no clue.
Shouldn't we try to find out?
Well, if you'd like to find some empirics on that, I'd love to see it.
I just did. So
Well,
41%.
wait, that's not a source?
Well, the Department of Education is a source.
No, the Department of Education doesn't say 41% of people it was a scam for,
Hold
or that
on.
they didn't use any of the information they learned in college.
You are using.
So are you saying none of them used any of the information?
Can I say 3 words without you interrupting me?
Do any of them
How
use
about
the information
4?
later on?
Can I say 5 words without interrupting
Well, you've
me?
interrupted me multiple times.
So since you say college is a scam for some people, it's a ballpark. For the kids that do not graduate, 41% that ended up going and not graduating, were they scammed?
No, just because you go and pay for a particular thing, but then you don't follow through with it, doesn't mean you were scammed.
Maybe they were
You
misled.
decided to pay for it. Oh, you could say some people are misled.
Do you
Some
think
people are
that
stigmatized into these things.
do you think
but
that
some people are misled in the church.
Do you
and
think-
you never answered my question on that because you're trying to
I did.
take that time down so that you don't have to answer the question about
Well, hold on.
Christianity because you know your worldview looks terrible.
Well, what about Christianity do you want me to answer? We're talking
Well, I think
about
it's
college,
false. Or because I was saying,
Okay.
is church a scam? If church is a scam, that'd be predicated off of the idea that you're deceived into believing that there's everlasting life,
Okay, but you
specifically from
believe
Christianity.
that, again,
So Christianity has to be true. So can you grant that? What's the argument?
Christianity is true. Did the resurrection?
What's the argument?
You're going to let me finish 3 words in a row?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Did the resurrection happen?
I don't think the resurrection occurred.
Okay, I disagree.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. A perfect creator, is it possible for them to not desire something imperfect?
Is a perfect creator, I'm sorry, what?
There's a perfect creator that desires everything that's just perfect. How can they desire something imperfect, flawed?
Well, because maybe they want to get to know themselves. Maybe they want to see their own creation. Maybe they love
They
their
want to get to know them? He's all-knowing.
Can I finish talking here? Okay, maybe because God loved the world so much that his creation, which rebelled.
Ex-missionary here. We got loads of training for how to deflect like Charlie's doing here in his scary shit, brainwashing. I mean, yeah, he's the operative. That's his whole point. What is this? Older Charlie Kirk? Has any other human come back to life after 3 days of being stabbed in the lungs? Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't really care about like, you know, historical Jesus or whatever. And like, what is the science behind the Bible? I think ultimately the conversation should have stayed around basically pinning him on like what exact degrees, like what exact degrees do you think are valuable and what are not valuable? Okay. And 2, why do you get to decide what degree is valuable and what degree is not? This is a conversation that I've had so many times with like STEM lords on this platform, which is, you know, which gets a lot of comp sci kids on the platform. Is just Twitch. That's just what it is. And one thing I tell them all the time, one thing I talk about all the time is like, you might necessarily think that like a specific major is silly, okay? But ultimately, that major is advancing humanity in ways that you might not immediately recognize, okay? If we had this sort of attitude about like archaeology, for example, and archaeological digs, then we wouldn't necessarily have a better understanding of what prehistoric societies look like. You know what I mean? These all touch one another, and gender studies absolutely is also a part of that as well. I think it's overall, I think it's just like silly to let Charlie get away with this like college is a scam shit. I think Parker is doing a good job. I think he's doing a good job overall, but you know, Christians hate archaeology.
Against him, given agency and free will, rebelled against them, then got eternal life, what we actually deserve, and then sent his son on a rescue mission to save us from that. The church is the bride of Christ, will save us from damnation that we deserve. College is far from the bride of America.
You sound like a psycho, dude.
It's currently scamming the youth of this country and sending them into oblivion.
Didn't answer the question.
I did.
No, you didn't say how they could desire something imperfect.
Well, God can do anything.
We'll talk about that later.
God can do anything, so.
Even something logically contradictory?
No, it's not logically contradictory.
To desire something imperfect.
Can an unstoppable object hit a immovable force?
Hey, before we go any further, we wanted to unbiased spin partnering with the channel.
Okay. What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes.
Trans women are not women. Oh, brother. Wait, what is the other one? Kamala Harris, a DEI candidate? Oh, brother. Oh, that's a Hasanabi head, by the way.
Define our... Okay.
I like that he's going to define his entire premise is trans women are not women. The prompt is trans women are not women. And he's going to try to like basically write the main point of contention as the underlying premise that every party has to operate on, when like that is literally the entire point of like what the argument is going to revolve around, where he just straight up is like, yeah, I'm going to define to you what a woman is, these hard boundaries, which is the entire point of contention, but you have to literally agree with me. Okay, well, that's really stupid.
What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes. You tell me, what is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No,
how...
it's not. A table is an...
Ask him to describe a table. Ask him to describe a table. I mean, classic. Define a chair. Define a table. You will never be able to define a table under such certain conditions that you cannot actually technically be defining something else. Yeah.
Object.
Well,
a table can't identify as anything. It doesn't have choice.
You have to give me an objective definition of what a woman is.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I'd be a woman. So once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that?
They're great. I mean, that's it. What's the counter to that? I just don't agree with you. Okay, well, that's why we're debating. Okay, bro, I hate the fact that they got to play musical chairs to talk to this nincompoop.
That they are that thing.
How do I don't need to know what they are. I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be, you need to tell me what that thing is, though.
Somebody who... Okay, sorry, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, no, it's important because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to... I did give you a definition.
No, you said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition. That's
something that thinks they're a woman is gross, dude. Holy shit.
What would you consider a definition then?
An adult female with XX chromosomes.
No. I mean, like, what makes that a definition?
Hello.
Hi.
Juliana?
Juliana,
I remember,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that you can define a woman just by her chromosomes. Women are so much more than that. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, colors.
Yeah, they should be like, oh, so XX chromosomes, do you think Ann Coulter is a woman? He says yes. Then you turn around and say, okay, well, she doesn't have XX chromosomes, so I guess she's not a woman. Also, this is not how you operate in society, okay? Gender is not a physical, biological construct. It can have physical properties to it, but it's ultimately a social construct, which is something that Charlie hates because he didn't go to college and he didn't do gender studies. Okay? Wait, Ann Coulter, really? Not going to say anything else. No, Ann Coulter is not a trans woman, by the way, for the record. Oh my God, I think you missed the part earlier where Charlie said he didn't believe in gender. He's a base gender abolitionist. God, he's too woke for me. Like, the thing is, most people don't even know what their chromosomes are. Regardless, okay, yeah, you can be a XY female. There are obviously differences, but the irony here is Charlie Kirk is trying to fit a very neat definition of what it means to be a woman, and there are millions, like tens of millions, even if we do not factor trans women into the equation, there are tens of millions of women right now worldwide that do not fit that standard that Charlie Kirk would consider to be a woman, and will be shocked if they were to find out that they do not fit that standard. That's number one. Number two, Charlie Kirk would also probably be shocked that that plenty of people, did I say equation? Okay, my bad. Charlie Kirk probably also ends up talking to a shitload of trans women that he doesn't know are trans, and treats them as full-blown, fully fleshed women, because they are. It's just that he doesn't recognize that. This happens all the time, okay? That's the reason why we say, and that's the reason why gender is a social construct. What is not a social construct, however, is the 3-minute ad break. That is very real, okay? It's as hard science as it's going to get. you're going to see the 3 minutes of ads at the top of the hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
And I don't necessarily think that you can count out somebody who's trans just because they don't have a certain set of chromosomes. There are also people who are born,
Sex isn't a social construct? No. But also sex is not binary either. I have a master's in gender studies. Sex isn't a social construct, but sex itself is also not binary. Even Ben Shapiro recognized this now, by the way. He literally will, like, Ben Shapiro regularly will talk about how, like, he used to say that sex is binary, but even Ben Shapiro has, like, moved beyond that, where he talks about sex is binary in mammals. The scientific biological definition of what a male and female are relevant for many things such as sports. Gender is a different thing. Sex is binary in mammals. No, that's not true either. Okay, if sex was binary in mammals, then you wouldn't have intersex people. What the fuck are you talking about? How can you be so confident in something that is so completely incorrect? I listened to Richard Dawkins. So what do you just, in your mind, like, you've just never thought about, like, intersex people, for example? Oh, okay. Well, if Richard Dawkins says so, then I'm wrong, I guess. There are variations. Okay, so it's not binary then. Definitionally, it is not a binary. When you admit that there are variations, you all of a sudden are cognizant of the reality that it is not binary. What do you think binary is? 1, 0. So when you recognize that there are variations, you understand that it's not binary. He said he was a Dawkins fan, not smart, my dude. I know. Even Ben Shapiro nowadays says it's what is it, bimodal, which is, you know, not great either. But dude, it's crazy that you just said. I love that you literally just said it's binary and then openly recognize. Yeah, bimodal is the term for it. But you yourself deflated your own argument.
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Intersex?
Yes.
So XXY
yes.
or YYX?
Or just, or like,
sure.
Variations happen due to genetic conditions and disorders. Yeah, this is where we come to the social stigma that you associate with sex, which you're not even talking about sex. You're talking about gender at that point without realizing that you're talking about gender. That's it. Like, when you consider something to be, an aberration, okay, and you consider it to be an anomaly, but the anomaly that you're talking about is like millions of people, okay, you either have to factor them into the equation and not be a weirdo about it, or you can commit yourself to the firmly held beliefs that you had prior, despite the fact that there is evidence to show the contrary. Also, in terms of chromosomes, the chromosomal variety also, you would be a good STEM lord? No, I wouldn't. I hate STEM. The chromosomal variety also extends far beyond intersex. Intersex is just one aspect of this conversation. Okay, here, you want me to watch this? Sure, go ahead. What the? Why is the chatter forcing me to watch this? I'm not watching this shit, dude. Chatter, you've lost linking privileges. Okay, Turkish chatter, who was like, you have to watch this shit.
X0 with nothing.
So natural mutations upon the binary, essentially, right?
Yes. So,
but they don't have both sex organs that both operate, right?
Wait, whoa. Don't say yes to that.
Yeah, but that also I don't think necessarily works, right? Because if it's X,
one
just
is more
X,
dominant
and
than
there's
the other. So you're either more male or more female, right? So you might have both a penis and a vagina, but there's never been a case of someone who can impregnate themselves.
Okay. I also don't necessarily think that works for this situation, but I also want to say that one of my best friends is trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their sex.
Yeah, the chromosome argument is incredibly easy to rebut. Most people have met thousands of women and have never checked the chromosomes of even one, so how could you possibly define what a woman is? Like, do you know if the chromosomes are what factors into the equation and that's the only way that you can be convinced that someone is a woman, don't you think that society would fall apart if that's the level of distinction? That is the level of Like you would refuse to call someone by their gender pronouns until you figured out what their chromosomes are. Have you inspected the chromosomes of your mother, Charlie? Charlie responds, she gave birth to me. So obviously she's a woman. You don't know what her chromosomes look like, and you don't even know that she actually gave birth to you. So why the fuck are you claiming that? Some things you just take for granted, okay? In order for society to operate this way, this would be an utterly irrational and idiotic standard to apply to every single social interaction. You do not even know if there's a trans woman in this room. There might be a trans woman in this room. There's a high likelihood that there's a trans woman in this room, and you probably never even considered it. You are literally pointing to them and referring to them with she, her pronouns because that's just how we work. There are thousands of people that I could show Charlie Kirk that in an effort to abide by the standards that trans women are not women, he would have to refer to by an incorrect gender pronoun that would make it really hard for him to have a normal conversation with other people, including Blair White, right? Blair White is a right-wing charlatan, a trans woman who is Blair White is a right-wing trans content creator, right? If you were to use the pronouns that you believe she should have, you would not be able to have a normal conversation with people. Let's say you have your umbrella. Let's say you're sitting down, okay? And you want to grab your umbrella before you leave, okay? But you can't get to your umbrella. Blair White is standing next to your umbrella. You ask your friend for help. You say, hey, can you grab my umbrella? Your friend's like, where is your umbrella? Okay, Blair White is standing next to it. Do you say, oh, my umbrella is next to that man right there? If you were to say that, absolutely zero people would understand what the you're talking about. You'd be like, what? What do you mean? You'd say, oh, my umbrella is next to her, okay? That is because gender is a social construct and absolutely zero people apply the standard. They just want to act like they would apply the standard. It's very stupid. That is precisely the reason why Ben Shapiro on numerous occasions has accidentally correctly gendered a trans person, stopped himself dead in his tracks, took a breather, and then turned around and misgendered them deliberately because it's just about doing harm. It's just about being a piece of shit. It's basically vice signaling, okay? Showing the rest of the world how big of a dickhead you are. That is what the conservative movement is all about, especially in modern day, all right? That's what it's about. Hasan, some women don't have typical XX chromosomes. Examples include women with androgen insensitivity syndrome, XY, Turner syndrome, XO, or mosaicism, mix of XX and XY cells. Gender identity doesn't always align with chromosomes. Exactly.
Organs. If somebody asked me who I was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair.
I would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think it's, well, that's the thing too. And I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because
it's an expression. If we're talking about gender in that regard, it's an identity. It's an expression. It's how you present yourself. It's how you want to be regarded as. That's it. It's like the sock you put on your foot, you know? It's a performance in the most reductive terms.
there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure. But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
so
lives
women are
life.
better people?
She's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Right, okay. I'm going to let some.
This is the best argument in favor of gender studies. Exactly. This is why Charlie doesn't want it. Okay. This is why Charlie doesn't want gender studies, so that there are more dumbasses who think like he does, which is crazy because it is objectively untrue. Saying that gender is biologically determined and it is biology is objectively untrue. And you're going to find very few scientists who agree to that. Okay. You'll find like every now and then, the only scientists that actually disagree with that are now famous, and not famous because of their science, famous because they're right-wing charlatans. Okay, that's it. Like real adults, real people, real academics are not going to be like, yeah, I don't really care about what the actual evidence is. Okay, I just personally don't agree with it. No, and now I'm going to do a podcast. That's not how that works.
Somebody else go. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Parker, what is a woman?
A woman is an adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex. Now, define a man. Define a man.
You're looking at one, XY chromosomes in a
Okay,
adult
but does God the Father have XY chromosomes prior to incarnation?
We literally have a religious
he's
topic
a father and he's he/him, but he's not a man?
We have a religious
Wait, so
topic
a man is someone with XY chromosomes, but he doesn't have XY chromosomes, yet he's still a man and he still uses preferred pronouns?
It's actually very interesting. In the original Hebrew, Adonai, do you know what Adonai is? It's the Hebrew word for God. It's actually genderless, but in the scriptures, they use he, right? And they use the masculine. Jesus Christ came to earth as a man, not as a woman, not as genderqueer. But let's go back to...
I think like debating him on religious shit is like, I don't know. Just like, I know this person is obviously well equipped to have this conversation just on the trans issue alone. Like, and it's funny to watch Charlie flail, but I think it's even better if you make him flail on the boundaries that he suggests within the argument, within the confines of the argument.
But God the Father is a man, right? Because all fathers are men.
Well, first of all, there's a Trinity. So God the Father is neither man nor woman. He is omniscient, omnipotent. He is all being on top of it.
So why do you use he?
Well, I did not. The scriptures do. You could use woman. You could say her. You could use him. But the way that the language is structured, again, it is so, God the Father is so above gender. It is so above any of our understanding.
And why use him?
Glory and understanding. Again, because you have to make a choice, either he or him or her.
Murad is such a chatter. He walked over and he heard the conversation that's taking place on my screen. And he said, "This does not seem like a Sunday fun day." That's what he said. This piece of shit. He's such a chatter, dude.
Let's go back to. I'm happy
some
to get into
fathers
that,
aren't men and boys.
So
some fathers are not men and boys, not men or boys.
I'm sorry.
Some fathers are not male.
No, of course they are. I'm not.
Wait, so God the Father's a male?
Hold on, God the Father. So where do we get God the Father from? What Greek word?
From your scripture.
Well, from Abba, right, which is a very close personal term.
You're not answering my questions, and you're bringing up random language that doesn't matter.
Well, it actually does.
No, it doesn't.
But let me get down to the root of it, because
he's not a man. You know he's not a man under your worldview. You still use his preferred pronouns. You still call him a man.
Christ is a
man. You don't do that with trans people because you're transphobic. That's why.
Okay, got it. But Christ is a man. I'm happy to get into the sexuality and
Before
gender
incarnation, he's not.
of the Trinity. Okay.
Before incarnation, there's no penis. There's no XY chromosomes. There's no small gametes.
Hold on a second. Let's think about it. If that's correct, how is it then Jacob saw the face of God?
Okay, so if there's
hold on. If there was not before the incarnation, how did Jacob see the face of God? How did Jacob wrestle with God?
Characters can have faces without biology.
How did Jacob wrestle with God?
So okay, do you think that he has a body?
Well,
or was that a figurative notion of wrestle?
That's a mystery of the scriptures. I'm not here. Well, it is. I'm not here to debate theology. Can we go back to what we're talking about?
Does he actually have biology? You keep trying to pivot because you know this debunks you.
Well,
what biology does your God have?
Well, the one of Christ our Lord.
No, I meant before incarnation.
Well, to be honest, I don't quite know, and I don't think the scriptures
so you don't know what a man is?
Well,
you can't define what a man is?
It's a little opaque. Again, you're looking at a man.
But your video, the largest video on TikTok is, what is a woman, 20 million views, but you don't know what a man is under your own worldview?
I said you're looking at a man, right?
Wait, but God the Father doesn't meet that criteria.
Wait. When Charlie says you're looking at a man, he literally just dunks on his own argument, right? Which is, you define yourself as a man, and therefore you're a man. There are plenty of men that don't fall under this distinction, including, I guess, the religious one, which I don't really care about necessarily. But you know, you're self-defining yourself as a man, so we just assume you're a man because we're not assholes. Nobody actually checked your chromosomes. It's just a trust me, bro type situation. Okay? Show me your dick right now, Charlie. Show me your penis. And even then, that's not even your chromosomes. You need to come in with your blood work, dog. Understand how stupid that argument is? Like, I need to see your blood work. I need to see your chromosomes. If that is the standard that we would apply to understand what a woman is and what a man is, it would obviously be ridiculous. Society would collapse. Thank God we don't do that. And you know we don't do that. And you know we'll never do that. You just want to be an asshole to trans people.
Yeah.
Am I looking at a man?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Just making
a
sure.
man that's beating you in a debate right now.
Okay, that's fine. So let me ask you a question, though. So do you think that anybody can become a woman?
I think that anyone who meets my criteria is a woman.
What's your criteria again?
Again, adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex.
Can society ever be wrong?
Sure, but like it's a desire to be in accordance with a set of social and cultural norms.
Can I become black if I wear blackface?
No, because it's not a desire that you have to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms.
What if somebody wants to be black?
Because race is defined phenotypically based upon the expression to other people.
But by some standard, you're judging that.
Do you think there's a phenotypical expression of someone who's white and someone who's black? Like I see you're white because of your phenotypical expression.
Right. So, but do you think? But Rachel Dolezal that said she is black and culturally black, is she black?
Does she have phenotypically characteristics we would associate
Define
with people who are
phenotypical. I'm not sure what that word means.
Phenotypical. It's going to be the expression.
So
of
melanin
particular
content, one
characteristics.
skin.
Yes.
Okay. So she could pass as a black person.
Wait. So she.
There's also a social application of race as well, by the way. Like, race is also, in some ways, a social construct. It is not a hard defined biological determination either. There is like biological expressions of race. Having said that, however, of course race is a social construct. What the f do you think the one drop rule is? That is literally something that white people made up, okay? And by white people, I mean, I guess Anglo-Saxon Protestants, like the early Anglo-Saxon Protestants, because they also didn't consider, well, depending on who you talk to, Benjamin Franklin thought French were also white, but like not the Germans or the Nordics, you know, and definitely not Italians. But the concept of white has obviously expanded throughout time, especially in the United States of America, and it's very different everywhere else. Whiteness just means proximity to power, but blackness is defined by the one drop rule.
She doesn't have the melanin content.
She's borderline.
No?
Heavily.
Okay, so then she's not black.
Okay, so you're able to say who is black.
What do you mean she's borderline? No, dog, she was white. What the f do you mean borderline? No, Rachel Dolezal was white. The reason why we know that is because she was outed as white. She was a white woman. She is a white woman. There's no borderline. She was doing blackface, dog. What the f?
Black and not black?
That's how we define it in society. No shit.
Okay, got it. So, but is there an objective definition of who is black?
Wait, language is all subjective. Linguistics professionals indicate it's subjective.
Language is all subjective?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
Every
really?
word you just used was created by other human beings that are engaging in conversation.
Got it. No, now
you might think it's created by God, but even then it's still subjective.
Got it. But now we're getting somewhere.
God's a subject.
Now we're getting somewhere. Is the word and the value behind murder objective or subjective?
Well, I think morality is subjective, but you think it's subjective too because it comes from God.
That's interesting.
Wait, does it come from God or independent of God?
Well, no, of course it comes from God. It's transcendent.
That's subjective.
Human beings.
That's subjective. Yes, it is. No. If it comes from God, it's specifically subjective. If it comes independent of God, then it's objective.
No,
what you just told me is also compatible
morality.
with moral anti-realism.
So let's go back to the Ten Commandments.
You don't understand
right?
meta-ethics.
Well, hold on a second.
What does subjective morality mean? What does it mean?
Subjective morality means that it comes in everybody's own opinion, their own form,
True
not
dependent upon a stance.
Again,
God is a stance, and that's the truth of morality.
So if let's believe, do you believe in if everybody believed in the concept?
Again, he's cooking him on an entirely we've moved so far beyond trans women are not women as the major point of contention. The flags are, if 11 people raises them, then he has to step aside until the end of the like the subject. He's doing great in terms of debate pervertry. I think the moment that you talk about the subjectivity of morality, saying that, I'm sorry, but I'm blasting both of these lords into the sun. This seems like debate lord arguing that is too weird for normal people. Not necessarily. I'm against Parker on this one and the simple virtue of this getting way too debate bro like. Yeah. I wish you would have kept it. I wish you would have kept the conversation. Everything stems from religion for these people, man. That's why he goes there. I wish you would have just kept the subject to trans women or not women, because I know he can just like, cook him on that. He probably on TikTok does too many like religion debates, and that's his comfortable avenue. So he's just hitting him from that angle over and over again. And Charlie is like a psychopathic Christian fascist. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not wrong to hit him on that, but just the conversation in this moment is just about whether trans women are women or not. And there's plenty of room to just shit on Charlie over, which he started off strong with. The notion that you asked Charlie to define a man, he failed to do so. And then beyond that, he says, I'm a man because I'm a man, over and over again, literally, personally, without recognizing, doing the thing that he said is wrong when the other party describes women as a person who defines themselves as a woman. Charlie does not know he is a man because he got a chromosome test, okay? And if he says, well, I did get a chromosome test, then you ask him the question, did you know you were a man before you got your chromosome test? Okay. Can I trust that that you actually got a chromosome test and I know that you're a man? That's it. That's literally it. The question is, did you know you were a man before you got your chromosome test, or were you just kind of like all over the place? Were you just like, I don't know what I am. I need to get a chromosome test. At what point in your life did you get a chromosome test? It's because conservatives make this process unnecessarily complicated. So use that complication to your advantage. Okay, brother, he has a dick. Of course he knows. What the fuck are you saying? But that's not what he said. He didn't say you need to have a dick to be a man. He said you need to have a certain set of chromosomes to be a man. That's how he defines it. Or at least that's how he defines being a woman. Okay? What happens if someone gets into an accident and no longer has a dick? Are they no longer a man? Are they something different? What happens to Steve Scalise, okay, majority whip for the Republican Party, who got shot in the dick at the congressional baseball game? He no longer has a dick, or a working dick. He has to like pee into a bag for the rest of his life. Is he no longer a man? Would you not refer to Steve Scalise as a man when you are referencing their gender? Is there a process in which you lose your manhood? Is it just a penis? And the same argument goes for women who can have a child, right? Women who can bear children. What happens to a woman who cannot bear children? What happens to a woman when they go through menopause? Are they no longer a woman because they no longer have working ovaries? I guess they're no longer a woman at that point. They're something different. No, of course not. These definitions, this is not how this shit works, okay? This is also precisely the reason why transphobes, depending on the level of transphobia that they're operating on, inevitably become transvestigators, because they cannot reckon with the reality that gender is a social construct and a mechanism for expression, which is why they start suspecting anyone and everyone of being trans, including those in their immediate vicinity. Sometimes, depending on the level of mental illness, transphobia is a mental illness, not being trans, but transphobia is actually the real mental illness. You become a transvestigator and you start assuming that your parents might even be trans at the highest stage of that mental illness. Okay? Bro, you are making me lose my mind. The fuck are you saying right now? There is no hard definition of what it means to be a woman, okay? Because being a woman is a social construct, okay? Got him. You got me? You got what? What did you get? No, this person said got him.
Concept of God, the transcendent God, that there was a 10 commandments and we should live by them, right? Is that objective morality?
No. Just because people agree doesn't make it objective. Okay, then what, again, independent of a stance.
What is
agreeance is not independent of a stance.
What is objective morality then? Sorry, thanks. We'll be back at it next time. Mason, how are you? Nice to meet you. Okay.
So I think it's a little scummy that you're plagiarizing the whole Matt Wall.
Hey, Hasanabi head in the building. We got a teacher / Hasanabi head / Hank Pecker enjoyer. Mason right there, brother. Famous from the secret conservative Jubilee video. I believe that was a Jubilee video. Let's go. Let's hear our boy Kirk.
Thing. Like your thing is the worship of Israel and everything like that.
I pay him royalties.
Okay, for sure. Well, do you want to talk about sex first, or do you want to talk about gender?
I don't think gender.
Classic. Immediately came in with Israel. God damn, Mason. Dial it back. Hank Peckerhead. Of course, the Hank Pecker fan immediately comes in and starts talking about Israel, dude. God damn.
Exist. I think it's a term that John Money and Judith Butler created over the last 40 years that basically is a filler for personalities.
Okay, well, if we're talking about sex, which it seems like you're saying is the exact same thing, would you say sex is binary by definition?
For sure, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you're already incorrect. Like, sex is not binary, it's bimodal. So if we look at a distribution graph, we're going to see people in two camps majority of the time, but there are going to be externalities on both ends of the spectrum and in the middle.
For example, like
so we already talked about intersex. Right.
However, with intersex, though, they are mutations of a binary, correct?
No, we're talking about.
Hold on, but
we're talking about an entire spectrum.
Which sex
you're by definition
dominant,
defeating your expression of what a binary is by saying that there are externalities.
But let me ask you a question. That like XXY.
Charlie, for example, you're trying to create this own box and then use any examples that are outside of that box to justify that box again.
You brought up intersex.
We're talking about reality.
You brought up intersex.
Okay.
sex organs, which one is more dominant?
What do you mean?
In an XXY situation.
Can you explain your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have more female characteristics and male characteristics in an XXY, or it might be YYX, one of the two. The point is that you do not have both.
We could see people with female reproductive organs that have XY, and we can see the vice versa, people with male reproductive organs that have XX.
So I think you said something about gender, though. I think that's more interesting to get into.
I don't think Charlie understands what bimodal means. Some people have literally both. Like, you can have both. And in that situation, I think he means like, oh, well, one works and the other one doesn't. Okay, who cares? Like, so do they have to lean into the one that works, or do they lean into the one that works up here? Okay, because the idea, even if the idea is that like you have to pick one, okay, that in and of itself breaks the argument that Charlie is suggesting, which is that it's a binary. It's not a binary. And you're forcing a binary. You're forcing this binary choice that is not binary because you understand it's not binary, but you're trying to enforce rigid societal norms onto this person, which by the very definition implies that gender is a social construct and not necessarily a biologically predetermined phenomenon. If it was, then it wouldn't work that way.
Okay.
Do you understand how the conversation?
So we're moving off of sex because you're ceding that argument.
No, I'm not ceding it.
Okay.
You want to keep going into it?
We can if you'd like.
Okay. So besides male and female, what categories exist?
We have people that are intersex. We have people that are on the other ends of the bimodal distribution graph. Are you aware what bimodal means versus binary?
Somewhat of an understanding. Yeah.
Okay, well, so you can be presented with a graph after this by the people that you brought with you, but it's actually a bimodal distribution.
Just like constantly going to condescending type talk is not going to be fruitful.
I'm just trying to match your energy with the people that you treated that were trying to have a conversation.
Got it. So trans women are not women. Do you agree with that?
I would say that trans women are women because people that exist under the category of women, people that exist under the category of men are still humans.
Got it. So that category, how is that defined?
Well, I wouldn't limit it to things like genitals or things like chromosomes, which seems like you want to do. What type of genitals would you say I have since you're so obsessed with genitals?
I'm not obsessed with genitals, but I could do a blood sampling right now and I could see exactly what you are because every single one of your...
Oh my God, if someone asked him to do a blood sampling... Dude, that's it. That's all it takes. By the way, he's chefing. He's chefing. Mason, you are chefing, brother. Good shit. Just be like, oh, are you a man? Why are you a man? Oh, you have a blood sample here? If you don't have a blood sample here, how do you expect me to believe that you're a man? It almost feels like we both have to kind of agree to what you tell me, don't you think? Just like when you tell me your name is Charlie, I don't suspect that your name is actually secretly something else. Okay? And even if it was secretly something else, when you tell me your name is Charlie, I'm going to go along with that. Everyone else is going to go along with that because that's kind of how social interpersonal relationships work.
Your trillions of cells are either coded with XX or XY, no matter how much surgery or whatever. I think that you are a man, but you could fool me. You could take hormones, you could play camouflage. Like I could fool you to be Hispanic if I had the right Hollywood makeup director. That doesn't mean that you are the thing.
But you're going from an objective biological perspective, which we've already talked about with sex. I'm talking about a social construct or a social utility.
Yeah. So
like if we were at a restaurant, right? I'm sitting down you're a man, and I'm sitting down at the table, and you're telling.
This is why I do what I do. This is why I do what I do. What's up, One Hand Politics? This is why I do what I do, mother. Look at what he's explaining to him. Look at what he's gonna explain to him. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I wonder if Charlie lets him go, he's gonna do he might not use umbrella. He might say purse, but we'll see. We'll see what hypothetical scenario Mason brings up here.
Telling the waiter, hey, I want to go sit with blank. What would you use?
With you?
He doesn't know my name. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting over there.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
That guy. You're going to typically use he or him, or you're going to say that guy, like you just said.
Correct.
Because you're ascribing the male gender to me based on my performative characteristics.
I say I could be an error. Maybe you are a biological woman.
And then you'd correct yourself, right?
Maybe not.
So that's what that is exactly what we're trying to say.
So the question is that, do you think that womanhood can then be assumed just through costume design?
It's not costume design.
What is it then?
It's performative social characteristics.
So you could
act
that's
it. What gender is.
Okay,
great
got
job.
it. So you could it's like a theater troupe.
It's not a theater troupe. These are social. These are social
womanhood
categories.
Can be a.
It is technically like a theater troupe. It's just that we do it every day, so we just assume that it's Like we don't even do it without thinking about it. But yeah, he cooked them. He cooked them so well.
Appropriated.
No, they're categories. That's what it is.
So there's nothing inherent about the chromosomes. There's nothing that.
Correct. Yes.
Wow, we disagree. So there's nothing inherent about having a period or being able to give birth or the specific hormonal makeup.
In different cultures, we've ascribed that to womanhood. If you go back to other cultures spanning thousands of years,
for sure.
you'll see a difference when it comes to those.
Like for example, the Mayans.
And also, again, what about women who can't have periods? Okay, are they not a woman at that point? What about a girl before they develop, before puberty? A prepubescent girl, are they not a girl? Are they not a woman? Okay. What about a person who went through menopause? Charlie, is your mom a woman? She's of that age where she might have gotten menopause. What about a woman who simply cannot give birth? Yeah. Women that take birth control, no longer women. Sorry.
And said plenty of people that were schizophrenic, right? So that means nothing to me, right?
Okay,
so,
we have people that say they're hearing things from God. Would you say that's schizophrenic?
Well, not necessarily. It built Western civilization and common law.
Oh, dude, Charlie gets real touchy when you bring up God. Okay. It's so stupid, Hasanabi. Charlie has lived 30 years and accepted people's pronouns the entire time, ostensibly without ever having seen their genitalia or their chromosome test. So why did he do that? That's what I'm saying. Like, the chromosome test is perfect because it's like, Charlie, when did you get your chromosome test? Oh, I got it 2 years ago. Okay, did you not know you were a man before you got your chromosome test? What do you mean?
On due process and individual rights.
I just wanted to hear that your priority.
Defense of the unborn and the greatest civilization ever. You know, that voice from God happened to build.
He gets so mad when like Western civilization is in the crosshairs, you know? That's fire. Built the Western civilization. Built the greatest nation of all time. Don't you dare come after Western civilization, which is the greatest civilization of all time, but also so fragile that like a bunch of tender queers can break it down entirely, okay, with 3 Tumblr posts. The greatest, okay, the most infallible arbiter of morality that has brought civilization to the moon, but also literally entirely falls apart because there's, you know, a bunch of queer people now. It's done. It's over. It fell apart. Famously, Greeks and the English believed in God as soon as fire was discovered. Yeah. And they were Greek and English at the time too. The reason why I don't like the religious argument overall, before people, you know, come at me as well, because I know we have an 80% atheist community in here, according to the census, like 78% or something, is because I don't give a as long as you are not using your religious beliefs as a mechanism to harm others, to act like other people are invalid or whatever, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Who gives a shit what you believe? Who cares?
Build the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world. That's
okay.
fine.
I think the Mayans would say the same thing. That's the problem with presuppositional arguments.
Yeah, let's go down.
Is that you could say anything.
Can we go visit?
I mean, God's telling me right now that
the Mayan
you're a
nation?
fish. Do you think that's real?
Can we go visit the Mayan nation? They didn't last that long, did they?
Yeah, over killing and violence, and you can justify that if you like.
You mean all
like
the child sacrifice?
And this is the condescending tone that why I'm trying to match it is because
you mean all the child sacrifice, the Aztecs, Mayans.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, child sacrifices. Okay, you know, what is 500,000 dead Iraqi children, Charlie? We should know better by now, but what is 500,000 dead Iraqi children to you? What are school shootings that happen every week at this point that your party says is just a fact of life? Okay. What about chattel slavery? That is the underpinning of this beautiful Western civilization that you hold on to as the best. You know, you can't on the one hand be a card carrying Bible thumper and then also on the other hand be like, well, Mayans did child sacrifice. Stupid.
And ink instead on the top of temples. Great civilization.
Do you want to go back into the Old Testament? Let's bring Parker up in here and talk about all the
child
child marriage, and we can talk about the justification of rape.
Where was child sacrifice ever in the Bible?
When Isaac was almost fucking sacrificed by his dad.
He wasn't though, because at the beginning of Genesis,
yeah, so God just said like, nah, just kidding, dog. Don't actually kill your son.
Because at the beginning of Genesis 16 said, I'm going to test
to prove
Abraham.
Obedience. Yes,
yeah, that's right. So now you know it. So actually, there was no child sacrifice in the Bible. It was a prohibition on child sacrifice in the Bible. But anyway, that's a little bit of a rabbit hole.
That is a little bit of a rabbit hole. So is the justification of slavery, because religion is what you make of it. It's all subject to interpretation. Charlie likes to pick and choose ultimately, but you know, you could say chattel slavery is child sacrifice. It happened.
Understand at least, can you sympathize with
and
our
was justified by the Christian Bible, but the Christian Bible also played a role in abolishing slavery, for the record, which is why I always say religion is what you make of it, you know, subject to interpretation.
Okay.
That
I'll calm it down a little bit. I apologize for the condescension.
No, it's fine. I mean, but you're doing it's fine. But like, did you see where
a bear mauled 30 children for making fun of a bald? Okay, first of all, that is the good part of the Old Testament, and we are not gonna, we're not gonna sit here and act like that was a bad story. The story is children are mean. Okay, kids are mean, and mean kids get mauled to death by bears. That's a good story. That is a good story and a wholesome lesson, okay? It's not even just about like shitting on bald people, which you shouldn't do, but also simultaneously, it's more so about how mean kids are, okay? If you've ever been ripped to shreds by a bunch of Zoomers, a bunch of teenagers at the basketball court, for example, they call you Unc, you know what this is, okay? You know what this is. You experience it on a daily fucking basis, regardless, because you're online. They're called Aiden Ross fans. Okay? They're terrifying. They got no morality. Okay? They got nothing going on. They got nothing going on up there. And maybe some of them should learn that lesson, that if you make fun of adults, you will get mauled by bears. You said the moral of the story is don't make fun of bald men. That is one moral of the story. But the other side of the story is children are mean and ruthless. And if they lean into that mean streak that they have in their heart, then, they will get mauled by bears to death. Bears will kill them to death. Okay? Murat, geldi. All right, Murat ordered food.
Where this could get wildly out of control, at least on the extreme.
I don't see how it would get out of control, because
even in sports, for example, you think that there's no.
So this is something that we might be able to agree upon.
Bradley Martin slapping stable Ronaldo is the modern version of that biblical tale. Yeah, look at stable Ronaldo now. Much more stable. Okay? He learned that lesson. He tried to tackle a bear and call him bald directly. What did the bear do? Smack the dog shit out of him. Okay? Smack some goddamn sense into his ass. He's a better person as a consequence to that. That's the Old Testament, dude. Right there.
Right.
Be kind to people, be ruthless to children, Hasanabi.
Sports were not archaeologically dug up, right? The rules of sports, they are things that we've created as a society. We have decided as a society the most fair categorization is male sports and female sports. Now, as we've been able to understand, or at least bring into the forefront, people who don't identify with the binary, we still have to allow all people that are women in the women's category and all men that are men in the women's category. That includes cis and trans. If you'd like to change that category because you think it's unfair, we can do that. That's what's awesome about arbitrary rules, is we can decide hormones.
I might not know this, but like when the Greeks started the Olympics 2,000 years ago, did they have like a bunch of dudes wrestling with women?
No, they did. I'm pretty sure they did, didn't they? I mean, women... There was definitely a point in history where they did. Yeah, there wasn't a distribution like that.
I don't even think they allowed women to compete.
Well,
I might be wrong on that,
but that kind of proves the point, though, that there was a...
Yeah, and what did we do to allow women? We changed the rules.
Right, no, but that, by definition, therefore, there is something from body composition, bone mass, lung...
Look up the story of Atalanta. They literally did. Cis men were smaller back then, dog. No, I'm pretty sure the men weren't wrestling. They were having sex. Yeah, the ancient Greeks also did a lot of stuff that I guess Charlie would be in support of.
Lung density, testosterone, and estrogen rates. Your endocrinology is different.
So if you'd say the majority of males in the bimodal distribution graph, we're going back to that, you can say, hey, we want this level of hormones in this particular category, and we can separate it by hormones. I agree with you that a majority of men...
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea for Charlie that, like, ancient Greeks were like, well, ancient Greeks had like a podcast guy like Joe Rogan, okay? Joe Roganopoulos, okay? Joseph Roganopoulos, and he was like, listen, guys, the bone density of these fellas is way thicker, okay? Way thicker than the bone density of the ladies, all right? So we can't have the fellas and the ladies fight one another, okay? We can't do that. All right, so let's get back to boy... Joseph Roganopoulos.
Men or majority of cis men
majority. You got to be like 99.9%.
I don't know. Ronda Rousey could kick my ass. I will say that.
No, for sure. But I mean, but could she kick Conor McGregor's ass?
Well, now we're talking about the peaks, right?
No,
the
she's
peaks
at the
of
peaks, though.
cisgender.
No, because you're talking about the peaks of two different categories in the same sort of.
Right, because why? She's a.
Wait, first of all, are they even in the same? Wait, are they even in the same weight class? Like, why is this guy? Why do people who love sport or love using sports as an example never actually consider like a bunch of important stuff about sports, like the weight classes, for example? I just like that doesn't make sense. They both fought at 145, if I recall correctly. Like, I think Conor McGregor probably beat Ronda if they somehow figured out, if they somehow got to the same weight class overall. Okay. Conor is 180 now. Ronda is 145. Yeah. Ronda has beat up other male MMA fighters and wrestlers, lol. Yeah.
Cis woman.
Well, she's a cis woman and
Correct.
he's
a cis man.
But yes, and
Correct.
he could kick her tail, right?
Yes, I would agree.
Oh, okay, for sure, right?
Because cis men and cis women have different hormone levels.
No,
if you want to change the hormones, we can change the categorization.
But
you're saying that you want men and women, bar none, and you say that's the most fair category. Then we have to allow all women and all men.
Well, but again, those things don't. So I just want to be clear. So because I think I'm tracking your argument, is that in the University of Pennsylvania swim team, when Thomas swam against biological women, you're perfectly fine with that.
I think as long as we have the categories that way.
Thanks.
Good to meet you.
Yeah. I want to get him in. He hasn't debated yet. No, you're fine. You're fine. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Preeti. Nice to meet
Brittany,
you.
nice to meet you. Go ahead.
Preeti.
Preeti,
Preeti.
nice to meet you.
P-R-E-E-T.
I'm sorry.
You're totally
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I kind of want to go back to a little earlier. You said that Parker has lower T than you. So would you say?
It's all a joke.
Yeah.
I
No.
think I'm right.
I'm fully aware it's a joke. But I guess like on that point, do you think that like T has to do, or testosterone has to do with your manhood?
No.
Like
well, yes and no. I mean, if you are looking at typical testosterone estrogen rates of women, they are far different than those of men. But
right,
for example, like your testosterone rate goes down when you have children. For
Okay,
example,
but
when you're a man, that doesn't make you less of a man. They go down by about 400 points.
Okay, but like when we were talking earlier about like sports, right?
Dude, what's crazy about this is like, in order to be a successful transphobe, you have to be such a goddamn nerd. Like, you are such a hateful person that you literally have to learn an entirely different set of facts and standards. And also sometimes like the actual, the actual science behind it, just so you can correctly argue against it. And it's one of the weirdest things that people do. I mean, it's just like, you are such a goddamn hater, bro. You are such an insane person that you are spending your finite life learning all this shit specifically so you can be a better hater. And the things that you're learning are the exact opposite of the truth, the exact opposite of what like the current scientific evidence presents. Like, you might as well put all that time and effort into the D&D, bro. What the fuck are you doing? At least that could be more fun for you, It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Well, I mean, I don't agree with Charlie here at all, but I don't think we should discourage using science as a basis for the argument. No, you missed the point that I was making. The point that I was making is that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, okay, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. But the other point I was making is it's not like they're learning the science. The only reason why they actually try to learn the science even a little bit is so they can cherry pick certain points of it to go against the scientific consensus on the subject matter. Okay? Like, whether Charlie recognizes it or not doesn't change the reality that trans women are women, that gender is a social construct, and trans women are still women no matter what. Like, trans women are still going to exist. Trans men are still going to exist. And it's so weird to me that he's just like, he thinks that he can debate away the existence of trans people. Like, just go paint Warhammer figurines or something. Like, that's a infinitely better use of your time. Okay? This shit is the same level as climate change denial and flat eartherism, and we have to start treating it as such. No, it is. It is. The problem is, I guess with like flat eartherism, the earth does feel flat. Like, climate change is pretty much unavoidable. Like, you recognize it. Look no further than my latest TikTok if you want to understand it, Here, actually, you know what? Let's just take a brief moment to watch my latest TikTok.
What's it up, folks? To all the libtards on this communist application used to think climate change was a hoax. Now I don't think it's a hoax no more. I live in California. It's 100 degrees out here in the middle of September. Holy 100 degrees in freedom units. That's like around 40, I guess, in Euro cook units. But god dang it, it's hot as a out here. Sweating like a sinner in church. Hank Pecker out. I think this climate change shit is real. Me and my baby girl right there, we're hot. We're furry, and we're hot. Listen up, folks.
Just saying. But in terms of like transphobia, the problem is gender, okay, in the way that we understand it is very rigid, or was very rigid in Western society, in the United States of America, in contemporary society, okay? And it's considered as a binary, and people and gender is like something that you closely associate with your own personhood. So it's very hard to shake people off that, and it's much easier to just like make transphobic arguments, right? For some reason, people, regardless of like how many flat earthers exist out there, it's just, you know, it's not usually something that like normal adults associate with like being a valid point of view. Whereas people do associate transphobia with like a normal opinion due to how close and personal we consider, like how important gender is to our identities.
Right? And you were saying that the reason why it's unfair for like for example, a trans woman who used to be a man to be like competing in women's sports. You cited that they have higher testosterone levels.
One of about 50 characteristics. Also lung density. Their men's hearts are bigger.
Okay.
We have greater bone density, muscle mass.
Okay,
tend to be faster, tend to be stronger.
I understand.
I think trans women competing in sports is also like the in terms of like changing public opinion, it is the hardest one to argue against because people will never listen to you, because Joe Rogan and many others have already set up the groundwork by establishing themselves as like the formative authorities on this. So much so that like family groups, Christian fascist groups, basically focus tested it and tied transphobia to meritocracy and found the perfect sauce, which is why like I think it's what, like 60% of Americans or even larger majorities believe that like trans women should not participate in sports. So if you're trying to just like win an argument over trans women or not women, I think that's the hardest one to win over in terms of like winning over the people that are watching, I guess, the onlookers.
Understandable. But like those factors all come from the hormones during the development process, correct?
No, not necessarily. No.
I mean, most of them do.
Well, not all of them. So for example, you could try to pump a young...
Merit has no physical manifestation. It doesn't matter. Americans value sports as like one of the only ways that we can actually truly see some form of meritocracy. We can discuss whether real meritocracy even exists in that circumstance. That's why my perfect counter to that always has been Messi, talking about Lionel Messi. Okay. But overall, let's hear what Charlie has to say. Let's
girl's
continue.
Body with testosterone at 8 years old, and you can get them stronger. You cannot necessarily get them on par with a biological male at puberty. You cannot. You could try.
Okay, but like...
Because there's something in the coding of our genetics.
Right. The coding of our genetics, which is often like controlled by like different, like, I guess, parts of our DNA and also the hormones that are produced that affect the effective coding of how
we're more than endocrinology,
produced.
But it's a big part. Because, for example, if you just give a kid testosterone, that doesn't even get them close to becoming a male, or estrogen giving them a female.
Okay.
They might get characteristics that are close to that.
Right, okay.
But it doesn't, for example...
But I mean, like there's no perfect image of like, this is what a female looks like, this is what a male looks like. Like we all get our periods at different ages. Some of us like, and also like, for example, like there are many circumstances where womanhood is just not one thing, right? It's a multitude of experiences that
sure.
every single person...
Can you define what womanhood is? That's an interesting question for you.
Well, no, I can't define what womanhood is. And the reason why is because it's something that's an individual experience for every single person, right? Like my experiences, what I have experienced throughout my life is not going to be the same as another woman who may have grown up in a different environment.
We have disagreement, but not clarity. I say that being a woman or womanhood is an objective thing.
Right, but
it's objective outside of one's own opinions or experiences.
So, but are we at the point where we're discussing where this is like not something based on your chromosomes, but something maybe based on a construct?
Well, no, it also can be objectively witnessed in empirical ways, in biological ways, in scientific ways.
Okay, so to clarify, we're still discussing whether womanhood is on chromosomes or not.
If you'd like to discuss that, it's deeper
Like-
than just chromosomes.
Right, right. I'm just trying to, like, define exactly
For
where
example,
this
if we
debate
look
is
at
at right
SPECT scans or brain scans of men and women, 98% of the time, artificial intelligence can tell you which one is the men and which one is the female.
Okay.
So our
An NYU study found that AI can detect the differences in male and female brains 92 to 98% of the time. It does not. It does this by spotting patterns in brain structure invisible to the human eye. Wait, what? AI? You can tell a woman and a man from the way they walk. Okay. I like how everything devolves back into transvestigation.
different parts of our brains fire. So
Okay,
for men, for example, our amygdalas are not as high working as women. You know what amygdala is the threat assessment part of
So
your brain.
obviously, like your birth, so there's a difference between the concept or what sex is, which is a biological aspect, and what gender is, which is a social construct.
I
right?
reject gender completely as a different word.
Yeah, he's like, I reject gender. He's a gender abolitionist, dude. My goat. Charlie is my woke prince, dude. I was wrong about him. He is more woke than I ever could be. He is more woke than I can fathom. Okay? He's running around. I shouldn't even be calling him he's their ass over here, bro. He's just like beyond. He's moved beyond the necessity for gender. He's like, I don't care. That's not a thing. Abolish it. Okay? Do not call me a king. Call me a themperor.
Really,
Okay, so that's where the debate is.
Yes.
Is the existence of gender.
Gender means personality.
Okay.
I don't doubt that biological men might have feminine
how would
type
you define
characteristics.
race on that point?
How would I define race?
How would you define race?
Well, race is a very difficult topic.
Okay, because I think that
Oh, dude. It's a very difficult topic. Because I'm racist. Oh, race is a very difficult. The way he said that is so funny.
How would you define race?
Well, race is a very difficult topic.
Okay,
and then he stopped.
because I think that it's a really important thing to discuss when it comes
here's
to
the thing,
terms of
if
this.
I draw
because
if I draw blood, if
is
there
it ethnic lines?
if you have a blood sample of a black individual and a white individual, I can't tell you which one is which. If I have a blood sample of a man,
and he's like, we tried. Charlie's like, I have tried. Okay. I've tried really hard. We want to do it. We just can't. Okay. It's really hard. We really want to do it. I've been advocating to bring back the pencil test, and people keep saying I'm weird and gross. Even in the Republican circles that I frequent, they keep saying, no, dog. No, we can't. We can't do the pencil test. For those of you who don't know what the pencil test is, in apartheid South Africa, in order to determine whether someone was even a little bit black, they would put a pencil through your hair. Okay. And if the pencil fell, as in you have straight hair, you were white. If the pencil stuck to your hair even a little bit, then you were not considered white enough, and therefore you couldn't go into certain places. Very racist stuff. White people got real creative with their racism. Okay.
and a woman, I can tell you which one is which, just by running very simple elementary blood tests. So, for example,
do you do that though?
If there was a Hispanic or a white, there is no difference in the genetic
is it?
coding. There just isn't.
why
We
is
don't
it
see-
important that someone's okay.
My next claim is that Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate. A lot of competition, Mason.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you again.
Can I define what a DEI candidate is?
I think that you're going to say because she's black and she's a woman, she was appointed because Joe Biden promised that, and it's not a testament to her
Not
success.
only that, but also in her getting the nomination of the Democrat Party, they said repeatedly, we do not want to pass over a black female.
Okay.
So just those two things, but the first one is stronger. You're right. Joe Biden said, I'm going to.
Oh, this is why I hate, dog. This is why I hated when Joe Biden was like, we're doing DEI, Jack. Another Hasanabi vindication moment right there. When they first said this, when the Democrats first said this, I was like, bro, you're not supposed to say that. Like, Republicans are supposed to say that. Like, that's such a stupid thing to just like say. Okay. You just conceded to that framing for no reason. Like, just say you're picking the best person possible. Okay. Like, it's not like Kamala Harris doesn't have the background to be a president. She does. Okay. Just like Ketanji Brown Jackson had all of the qualities and the makings for a pretty adequate Supreme Court justice, if not one of the better Supreme Court justices, given her background as a public defender. Okay. Parker said they wouldn't let him stand. That's crazy. They were like, come on, Parker, you're going to talk about Christianity again.
Put on my vice presidency a black female.
Right.
Right. So his criteria was,
kept.
yeah, and that was like Karen Bass and Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So she was not chosen because of her intellect or her accomplishments or because of any of that. It was because she happened to fit a couple boxes. In fact, Amy Klobuchar, the vetting at the time was that Amy Klobuchar.
I think the irony here is that Joe Biden also was a DEI pick from that very same framework, except because DEI, the way that it's utilized by Republicans, is inherently racist, nobody thinks about it like that. Like Barack Obama is a black man. He needed an old, somewhat racist white guy to you know, smooth over the people that were like, I love voting for the Democratic Party, but I'm kind of racist. What the fuck do I do? Okay. Tim Walz right now is the DEI pick, but nobody ever thinks about it like that because they're white men. And the entire purpose of the way that DEI is utilized by the right is to shit on black people, like non-white people, non-male, non-white men. So nobody thinks about it in the same way. Okay.
Klobuchar would have been a better VP, and Kamala ended up getting it. So it's just a statement of fact that.
Oh God, his political analysis is so ass, which is like shocking, I guess. I mean, I guess it's not that shocking. He said Amy Klobuchar would have been a better VP. No. What the? Why would Amy Klobuchar be a better VP?
She is there not because of her brilliance or accomplishments, but because of her ethnicity.
So Kamala Harris, first and foremost, there are a lot of criticisms that you can give to her on why she wouldn't be an effective president. It shouldn't be because she's a woman or because she's black. And it seems to be that you're saying that.
No, I just want people to understand and agree she didn't earn this.
She absolutely did. She has a career where she's been not only a DEA.
DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear. But like
it stands for diversity, equity, inclusion. I like the meme though.
I know what it is. But do you at least admit and acknowledge that when Joe Biden was searching for a VP, he cared more about skin color and a female than the smartest, best?
In your opinion, what is Charlie Kirk actually good / correct at? Literally nothing. You will never. I hate this question. I know you might have asked it in like with genuine curiosity, but they're like, this person is paid to be wrong. Okay, they are paid to be an asshole, and the more asshole-ish they are, the more they get paid. There's no world in which I'll be like, oh yeah, like there's this thing that he's on board with. Like, no, he's not good. He's not good at anything. He doesn't have anything that he believes that I agree with. I guess if I were to try really hard, it's the thing that I brought up before where he has like, he's done a great job of just like stealing money from older wealthy Republicans by lying to them.
Best person.
So the whole conversation with this affirmative action with DEI, the whole reason why people bring it in is to make this imaginary scenario that there's a super qualified white man who was overpassed by this unqualified, stupid, idiot person of color, which is such a terrible analogy because it's not true.
His own team
it's absolutely not true.
Mason,
that's not what it is. Joe Biden did not say, I'm going to choose an unqualified person and just because she's black.
His own team
He's saying that I'm going to have two qualified people. If one comes from a different experience, it might be better to have a diversity and have a better perception.
He said
in forms of government.
He said at the South Carolina debate that I will pick a black woman as my vice president. Secondly, Amy Klobuchar came out.
Is this a random black woman that he plucked off the street? Or is this a qualified DEA general attorney who's had a decorated career leading government positions? But you keep rambling about things that just aren't relevant to what we're saying.
This is the worst aspect of this conversation because you end up defending Kamala Harris, which is kind of gross. Like, regardless of what the principles you're defending her on, I just always feel kind of gross defending the Democrats in this situation.
It is relevant. Amy Klobuchar in vetting came.
Dog, the reason why I wonder why he said he's going to pick a black woman at South Carolina. That's politics, dumbass. The f are you talking about? He's talking to black people. Like, that's it. Here's your original video when Harris got picked. Biden picks Harris as his running mate. There you go. You know, okay, here's a hyper woke rad lib take. Are you ready for this? Don't you think it's kind of misogynistic to like toy around with women's feelings this way? One, only portray them as a simple prop for your political goals. And then secondly, to just like parade them around exclusively so you can get some additional marketing around the ultimate inevitable pick. Like, what is this, The Bachelor, dude? I don't know, man. Kind of misogynistic to me, dude. Sounds similar to Pepega affirmative action is racist. I mean, this is literally what Joe Biden did as far as like what went into his choices of who he was going to make the VP. is literally the racist depiction of affirmative action. This is from August 13th, 2020. Okay. 4 years ago, I was like, bro, this went up and was like, I'm picking a black woman. Now conservatives are going to use that permanently. And that's not just me who thinks this. It was a joke even in like black Twitter. Isn't it up to pick a cop VP while people are protesting police? I guess. I don't know. I mean, they're gonna continue with she was a progressive DA meta, so it doesn't matter. All right, I guess it's time to follow Biden. What's your overall opinions of Kamala Harris herself? I think that she is, again, a political operative, just as all of these people that are successful within the Democratic Party are. She is at least more progressive presenting on a multitude of issues than a lot of the other people who don't even hide that, or who don't even make that effort. Especially as someone from California, I think that we could go way further, way more blue in a state like California. But she's certainly more progressive than Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi. So at least there's that. Was it really that about Biden? He announced that he would select a black female VP for diversity since he's a white man, and there are just so few prominent black female politicians that speculations ran rampant. First of all, do you not understand how the VP process works? I was memeing about the Bachelorette shit or the Bachelor shit, but like, what are you talking about? The entire VP process and the selection is all about fanfare and theatrics. They leaked information about who it could potentially be so that people would speculate over and over again, so that there was more attention when the time came. That's literally the most significant purpose of the VP choice. Is it a good move to pick someone from Cali instead of someone from more swing state like Georgia? Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. I don't think VP sway one way or the other. There are obviously notable exceptions to that rule, but it literally doesn't matter. All the shit that I said about Kamala Harris still remains true. Kamala Harris, white or minority/black, asking as a Northern Norwegian. No, she's Asian and black, right? Like, isn't she Indian and black? I mean, I don't really give a shit what the fuck she is. It's always good when Democrats, like, it doesn't matter either way, okay? I just want to, once again, point out that this does not matter, okay? It does not matter. I need to stress this over and over again. It does not matter. But now that I've said that it does not matter, I would like to show you exactly how hilarious it is that the Democratic Party first locked themselves into a weird situation where they were like, it's going to be a black woman. Okay? So that was like bingo number one. Why the fuck would you say that? Two, and for reasons that I've mentioned before, by the way, number one is silly because it's like, then you're devaluing everything they bring to the platform, and you're saying you're only choosing them because they're a black woman, which literally plays into every affirmative action stereotype that Republicans point to all the time by just doing that. Obviously, your race or your background is only as important as it contributes to your worldview and the policies that you advocate for. Never forget that. Otherwise, you know, Candace Owens is woke by definition because she's a black woman too. Two, they chose a cop. Career prosecutors are always going to have a litany of horrible things that they've done in terms of criminal justice, no matter how hard they try to portray themselves as progressive. But at a time when we have racial injustice at the forefront of the political conversation, I absolutely adore the fact that the Democratic Party decided to go with a segregationist who routinely lied about being arrested during the civil rights protests that he never actually got arrested in. A segregationist who worked with segregationists, rather. I'm using embellished, hyperbolic language. Obviously, Joe Biden wasn't openly a segregationist. He only advocated for busing being bad because it was forced busing. It would not be regarded well by the whites or the blacks in the racial jungle he said America was going to become. But we went with a segregationist and a cop at a time when people are talking about criminal justice, policing, and the racial injustices that black people are subjected to. The Democratic Party was like, we're going to go with a dude who has definitely had terrible optics on the racial justice side and a cop. It doesn't even end there, though. The worst part about this, even though it doesn't matter, they went with a cop from California, the famous, notable swing state of California. Now, while I hold the position that your VP pick doesn't ultimately matter, these people claim that it does matter. So even if it does matter, why the did they hurt themselves on virtually every single reason why the VP pick should matter. This will, feed into the narrative from Republicans that claim that, Kamala Harris is a radical leftist. She was pro Medicare for all, even though she was fake pro Medicare for all. It's funny because Kamala Harris, this clip aged surprisingly well. Brother or sister, let me tell you something. Just go back and watch any of my commentary from the 2020 cycle, and you will realize oh shit, every single clip aged surprisingly well. At a certain point, it turns into maybe it's unsurprising that his clips are aging well. Okay. When did you get the DR10? Yeah, I got hit with a Dominican ray in the process. Over the course of the 4 years that this video was shot, I got hit with a Dominican ray. I'm Dominican now. But yeah, I mean, I said all this shit back then. Much like Pete Buttigieg was regarded by the media as someone you had to pay attention to. Someone that you should want to vote for. Kind of like Elizabeth Warren as well. They were super heavy. They went hard on Kamala Harris. And the irony there was the fact that Kamala Harris was kind of unpopular, even in her own home state. I don't even understand why they would do this. But hey, what do I know? This duo is still years ahead of Donald Trump. Don't be ridiculous. And secondly, she's not the worst. I think Pete Buttigieg would have been worse. There are a number of different candidates like Michael Bloomberg that would have been worse. Kamala Harris is still much better than a lot of the choices that the administration could have gone with. This is a good pick. She's young, dynamic, tough debater who knows how to throw a punch, and she will help energize Lib Bizzle, the DNC operative himself. Black vote. Watch me shit on them. Voters that are younger. If you look at Biden's last event, come on, Lib Bizzle. What the are you talking about? Energize black voters that are younger? Get the out of here. Kamala Harris's appeal for the black vote was inconsequential in comparison to someone like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had an infinitely larger appeal within the younger. Some things never change, baby. Some things never change. Okay. He was still there since it was pre-RP. Yeah. To be fair, again, he has the pay stubs and you don't. So if you find yourself unconditionally defending the worst instincts of the Democratic Party, you should remember at least he gets paid to do so. You don't. Okay? You're doing it for free, dog. You're doing it for free, dude. What's good? Is upstairs on the hallway. Did you meet him at the DNC? I did. Black constituents than Kamala Harris did. I don't hate this decision. I think there are infinitely worse people that they could have chosen, and I'm glad that they chose. The Bernie take here end up being correct? What do you mean? Did you not just see the poll results? She also trailed behind Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders in a number of recent polls, behind Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, with one November Quinnipiac University poll showing Harris flagging with 6% of support from black voters, compared with Biden's 44%, Sanders' 10%, and Warren's 8%. Are you serious? This is not happening? What are you talking about? No, this was in 2020. I was right. You needed a fresh fade then? I know, this was right after I gotten buzzed.
Across as the more qualified candidate.
Why?
Because they said Kamala Harris wasn't very smart, wasn't very bright. That's their own vetting documents.
From who?
Joe Biden's own vetting documents.
So why would he go against that?
Because the base of the Democrat Party demands tribal politics and DEI politics over competency.
That's completely inaccurate.
He stated to Jim Clyburn said, "I will only endorse you in the South Carolina primary if you say that you're going to put a black person, preferably a black female, on your ticket with you." Therefore, you winnow the entire universe down and say, "I'm only going to choose from this criteria." And let's just think more broadly. If you're about to have heart surgery, would you rather have a heart surgeon that's good and excellent, knows what he's doing, or someone that is a black female? So, and being president's...
That's an insane dynamic. Dude, what if the best person is a black female? Then what? Would you rather have a white male rather than a black female if the best heart surgeon is a black female? What is wrong with you, dog? You freak.
More important than being a heart surgeon.
Aren't you on record saying that you'd be terrified if there was a black pilot that was flying
Yes,
your
I did say that, but why?
Okay, cool.
What was the full quote?
I personally, I don't know. If you want to expand on that.
Yeah, so this ties into this. United Airlines said...
Dog, you automatically assume that the black female can't be the best heart surgeon. You freak. You absolute freak, dude.
That half of all their new hirees are going to be black or women. And that standards and pursuit of excellence is not going to be taken as seriously as diversity. When I'm flying a plane, I want to know my pilot is there because they're a good pilot, not because they fit some DEI box.
Damn it, I wish we could have a better conversation.
I'm sorry, man. Fast, man.
Okay, so let's say that Kamala Harris was the DEI hire as vice president. Do you think she's also a DEI hire as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they decided to go to her almost immediately because she is the VP, but also because she fits some criteria boxes. But let me ask you.
You don't think it's because Joe Biden nominated or
No,
said
no, for
he
sure.
wanted-
That's part of it. Of course it is. But let me ask you, what's her greatest achievement or accomplishment?
Her greatest achievement or accomplishment? I'd say her greatest achievement or accomplishment is completely destroying the Republican Party within like 2 weeks of being nominated.
How is
Like
she-
in the polls, she's just absolutely.
Huh? Sorry. How are you? Nice to see you. What's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
So you believe because Kamala is black and a woman, she was chosen for
It's
vice
not my own
president?
belief. Her own team, Joe Biden said that. He said, I
Joe Biden
chose.
said that?
Yeah, he said, I'm first, because beforehand he said, I'm
He
going to
did.
choose a black female for vice president. He didn't say, I'm going to choose the.
I think the funniest part about this process is that Joe Biden is racist. Like, he's an old racist piece of shit. So, yeah, of course, being an old racist asshole, he literally was like, yeah, I'm picking a black woman. Yeah, whatever. Leave me alone. Is that what you blacks want? I'll give it to you. Watch me. The entire point here is Kamala Harris qualified as a vice president? And considering that, again, she was a senator from, a pretty sizable state, California, and before that, the attorney general of that same state, and before that, a DA. Yeah, I think it's, she has the qualifications. Do I agree with the qualifications? Well, that's a different story, right? It is extra funny that we're talking about ultimately a popularity race, and your selected candidate is a billionaire Nepo baby born with a goddamn silver spoon who has up so much that he literally bankrupted a casino, dog. And you're literally talking about qualifications. Like, you mean? Donald Trump is running for the presidency again. What kind of qualifications did he have the first time around? Yeah, it's a popularity contest, dude. He bankrupted himself, 8 times, 9 times? Shit's crazy. Including a casino. Oh, did you break it apart? Hell yeah. All right.
Most gifted or the most talented or the most accomplished. He said, I'm going to choose a black female. And so by definition, that is DEI.
That is not the definition of DEI. By him saying that he was going to choose a black female, that could insinuate that he already had Kamala in mind for the role. No way does that insinuate that she's DEI.
Well, what is DEI then?
DEI would be,
Choosing somebody based on their race?
no, it's giving people of color the
Oh, thank God. I was about to chop. She got it.
opportunity to be welcomed into spaces in which they typically
Like Kamala
aren't
Harris?
able to get
There's
into.
never been a female black vice president.
And why do you think that is?
Well, not why. You just said that's DEI.
That
So by definition, she's DEI.
Yes. In the correct application of the term, yes. But the problem here is your application of the term is racist. That's the issue. You would not have an issue with DEI as a protocol if you just simply thought about it with the correct application of the term. That in a field of the most qualified candidates, we must open up the process to candidates that have been historically overlooked. Okay? That's what DEI is. It doesn't mean you're just going to cast aside better. You're going to cast aside better candidates because you want a black one. It just simply means that you will also look at the possibility of a black woman, a historically overlooked group of people in terms of, the vice presidential slot. This does not mean that they're unqualified. You're the one who's adding that onto it and then cynically talking about this conversation. Now, let me tell you, I don't like Kamala Harris all that much, and especially not since her latest sequence of classic Democratic Party shenanigans, running scared, running to the center, talking about how lethal she wants the military to be, yada, yada, yada. Having said that, however, okay, let me tell you one thing that proves that Charlie Kirk was wrong. Donald Trump lost. Okay? That's it. Because at the end of the day, the presidential candidacy, whether we like to agree to it or we like to admit to it or not, is a popularity contest. Okay? And it turns out that Joe Biden and his black vice president, black female vice president, was more popular than Charlie Kirk's favorite president of all time. Sucks to suck. Okay? Turns out he made a pick and he won. And when you win, turns out that pick was right. We can never know if the other alternatives would have been better, and we don't have to.
Okay, so she represents diversity within the government.
Well,
is
no,
what
but
you're
you're saying she got elevated because she was a black female. Because
if that were the case, I'd be the president right now.
do you think Kamala Harris was chosen because of her intelligence?
Her qualifications and her intelligence.
Really? Wow.
If you compare,
why is that so shocking to Charlie? Dog, come on, brother. Like you couldn't even cut it in a community college for like 3 weeks. Like, what qualifications do you have? Like, the reality of the matter is you are assuming that other people have the same level of racism and same level of misogyny trapped in their hearts. Okay? This is not a great argument to make. The racists will look at this and go, yeah, he's really cooking that black woman. Hell yeah. But most people will go, the f are you talking about? She was the goddamn Attorney General of California. What are you saying right now? Of course, she's not an unintelligent person. Like, I might disagree with her, right? I might disagree with her policies. I might disagree with the way she's campaigning, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, she's unintelligent. Okay. Yeah. And this is a good point as well. Flippins a pancake. George W. Bush was president. So obviously intelligence is not exactly a requirement either. So, intelligence is also beside the point.
What's her
speech
greatest
with
accomplishment?
Kamala,
What's her greatest accomplishment?
probably being prosecutor within the Northern Californian
really?
area.
You mean letting out violent criminals and turning San Francisco one of the most murderous, dangerous, arson-filled, homeless?
That's so weird because like none of those policies were implemented when Kamala Harris was the DA nor the Attorney General. And they're not even implemented at this point either. It's just a complete fabrication. You just made that shit up, You just made that shit up. You made that shit up, dog. That's it. Like the idea that like we're letting out criminals in California, like that's not real, okay? How would he answer? When would a black candidate not be considered DEI? Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one, actually.
Filled slums in the country.
Wow.
That's her greatest accomplishment.
See, I actually went to UC Berkeley, so I lived there. I don't know if you did. I went around the area.
Berkeley is a slum.
Berkeley is a slum. Have you stepped into Berkeley?
Yes, I have. You think Oakland and Berkeley?
Have you lived in Berkeley? I've lived in Oakland as well.
Do you think,
you're basing your
You think the Bay Area is like a good area in this country?
I'm from Vegas, so I'm not from the Bay. Born and raised in Vegas and went to UC Berkeley. Just graduated this year. What you're saying, literally in no way, shape, or form makes sense.
So you think her...
Dude, that's crazy. He said Oakland is a slum. Berkeley is shit. He said the Bay Area is a slum. What the f are you talking about? Yeah, might as well put the Klan's robe on, dude. Just put the robe on, brother. There's blacks there. It's a slum.
Overseeing San Francisco becoming the laughingstock of the country.
San Francisco is not the laughingstock of the country. If anything, that's Florida. No offense. But
well, hold on. If that's the case, why are millions of people moving?
True. Speak on it. True. God damn. God damn. That was a chefing moment, dude. Right there. She chefed it up. She chefed it up big time.
Florida, millions of people leaving California.
Because there are cheaper rates there. People are moving to Las Vegas. Las Vegas has changed as a whole.
It's cheaper because it's a better run state. And
no. Wait, what? Okay, Mississippi is cheaper. Does that mean it's a better run state? Well, I guess he might say that. Why are you adding moist critical in the chat?
We don't give money to illegals,
Northern California is not all.
crime.
Northern California is not the entirety of California.
Hold on a second, but
there's Southern California, Northern California.
Why is it that so many businesses are leaving San Francisco if she did such a great job lowering crime?
Do you know?
Oh my lord, dude! Why is businesses leaving San Francisco? It's like, dude, California single-handedly is one of the largest economies on the planet. Okay. Like in comparison to other nation states. Shut the up. What a stupid ass argument, dude. Also, yeah, do attorneys have control over the economy? No, they don't. And also, once again, it doesn't matter. He's trying to tie that together. He's like, oh, people are leaving San Francisco because crime is out of control, which is not even the truth. Neither crime is out of control, nor people are leaving San Francisco because crime is out of control. People say that, but that's not the real reason why they're leaving San Francisco. They're leaving San Francisco or California in general because real estate is out of control. Part of the reason why real estate is out of control is because demand is really high. And also because our dumbass governor and our dumbass politicians in the state of California don't actually implement any of those commie policies that the Republicans love to claim they're doing on a regular fucking basis. The only reason is because we cannot control the housing market, okay? We can't. California is the 5th largest economy in the world for the 7th consecutive year. It contributes most of the GDP. Exactly. I hate this shit. San Francisco is totally gentrified, isn't it? People are leaving because the tech jobs are dry as yeah.
Businesses go where things are cheapest to operate.
Why are they cheaper? Because they're better run states.
Do you realize that California is one of the most popular?
Yo, just ask him about Mississippi. I mean, he'll say it's the best run state, and then you can just hit him with some facts and be like, 50th in education. Do you think that's the best run state? What are we talking about here? Okay. Like, it's just stupid. Bro, chill. No, like, it's dumb. It's dumb as okay. Mississippi resident here. We are not the best run state. Cheaper does not mean it equals better. Okay, there are awful states. Enough Mississippi slander. We have good food. True.
Populated states within the U.S. So obviously
So
costs
is
are going to
Texas
be
and
higher.
California.
Not only that, but land within this state is also very, very, very minimal. So that's
Hold on, you have
Wait, that's not true at all. What the Wait, what's happening? We watched the video
and
for
we don't give money to
listen, northern
illegal lowering because
so obviously
so-
cost nation that's here.
Yes,
and due
Florida
to
and
that, but minimal. So that's
hold on, you have tons of land. You're one of the
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of land. I think she means like housing is minimal.
biggest states
yes,
in
it
the
is
country.
one of the biggest lands, but do you also take into account the population that's here?
Yes,
And due
Florida
to that,
and Texas have a greater combined population than California, and California has more population and more land mass than Florida. Why is it that San Francisco has a declining population and Miami, Tampa, Orlando have an increasing population?
what does this have to do with DEI?
Because she ran San Francisco poorly, and she was chosen as a VP because she was a black
She
woman.
didn't run San Francisco poorly.
She was the DA of San Francisco.
So
and then
she's prosecuted.
And then she became the AG of California, where crime went up, homelessness went up, arson went up, kidnapping went
She's
up,
not the
murder went up.
police.
Hold
Isn't
on.
that the job of the
Hold on a
police
second.
to get the criminals and for her?
The attorney general of the state is the top cop of the state.
Yes.
And what did she do to lower crime in California?
She convicted those who were guilty.
Why did crime go up?
Because as the population increases and
Then-
this
got it. So
economy gets
why-
worse, no.
why is
as
Flor-
the
why is
economy
Florida's
gets worse,
crime rate going
people
down?
are becoming more and more desperate, which leads to paths of crime.
Thank you.
Mine will be quick. Mine will be really quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so real quick, you're saying that the only reason she was elected is because she's black?
Well, first
So
of all,
that trumps her being a district attorney and all
First
the
of all, this is
accomplishments
not
she
my
has?
words. I'm just going on Joe Biden's own words.
Okay.
Joe Biden said, I'm going to preset criteria based on black women, and therefore she met that criteria, and that's why she was selected.
No, why? I think what he was trying to say is, she's just black. She was just calling her black. She's not saying I'm doing. He's
No,
not saying.
he made a
He's
public
not
promise.
saying I'm doing this because she's black.
No,
That's
he-
not what she
He
said.
made a public promise before the selection even began and the process began. I will put a black woman on the ticket.
So you're saying her being district attorney doesn't matter. That's not why.
No, I
but
think she
yet,
did- no,
but
I'm
yet
saying she
Trump
did an awful
being
job.
a failed business.
Yeah, I hate this because like low key, Joe Biden did say that, and also he did actually, and that's why I watched the video. That's why I watched the video earlier of me like correctly predicting that like Joe Biden straight up saying that as a racist old white asshole, unironically leaned into that idiotic thing, and it cut away at Kamala Harris's accomplishments and her qualifications for becoming the vice president. That's the worst part. That's the worst part about this story, is that it like leads a lot of people into like trying to defend Joe Biden. But that is unironically an issue, okay? Libs can't just move on from Brandon. They should stop trying to defend his ass. He said it. Yeah, I mean, what was the context of him saying that? Not a gotcha, but wondering if you remember the context. I think he said it in first. He said it in South Carolina, I think, like at a rally. Like he straight up said, he should have said like, I'm gonna pick a black woman.
Businessman, and making all the comments, weird comments he's made.
Well, hold on a second.
That doesn't.
Oh, this is boring. Is there more to this? Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate. Does anyone else cook in this?
My question for you is, if Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate, why is she beating Trump in the polls right now?
We'll see what happens.
Good question.
It's in November.
Okay, but she's currently beating Trump in the polls. So either
if the polls are right, I grant you that.
he's incompetent,
or maybe she's a new candidate with a big surge.
She's doing good.
I would caution you being a little, like, this point in the election, getting too cocky, because we remember what happened with
I'm not
Hillary
getting
Clinton.
cocky. I'm asking you to answer a question. If she is incompetent, how could she beat the president, who you said is an amazing
As of the
president?
timing of this filming, can you name to me how many times she sat down for an interview?
What? No.
She refuses to talk to the press, refuses to take questions. She's done not one sit-down interview in nearly 25 days at the filming of this interview, mind you.
I
which
think
I don't know
that
when
is
this will be
a
posted.
very weird
Parker made
point
an
to
argument
make.
I've
Why
never
would
heard
I
before
count
he
how many
cooked.
times Kamala Harris
because
has
it's
had
zero,
an interview?
because she refuses to take questions from the press and media. Like, shouldn't you do that if you're the sitting vice president?
She's.
He actually did 3 last Sunday and 1 today with Meet the Press.
So the quality.
What do you gain? Because I know what it is. You're baiting
inclusion of rural.
Okay, fine.
Perfect.
Okay. I think it's going to take the entire time.
You're welcome.
30 on, 30 off.
How do you feel about the Senate?
As
Electoral
far as
college?
her tie-breaking vote of the Senate?
No. I'm just saying like Senate. Like the Senate is technically DEI in a certain sense for like small states. Like Wyoming gets people in Wyoming get a
like
greater
Rhode
vote than
Island
me in
and Hawaii.
California.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that. That's funny. See, I do this shit so much that it's not often where I hear like a unique association, a unique word association, and that's funny. I like it. That's a good line.
Like Rhode Island and Hawaii.
I'm giving you an example. California, I get less of a vote than someone who exists in Wyoming. So we're giving people in Wyoming more say than they necessarily should, given that they're one individual. So why do you believe in DEI as it relates to how our government is set up, but you don't believe in DEI in terms of allowing for people who are black or who are women to be in positions of power that they have not been allowed in, historically speaking?
So is the Electoral College and the Senate based on race?
It's predicated off of diversity, equity.
bro, that's a self-report. Did you notice that? Did you notice how he immediately went, oh, it's race? Who said DEI is just about race, big dog? Diversity, equity, and inclusion means it can, if, small states are underrepresented, they get brought to the table, to the forefront of the subject matter, to the conversation. Ain't nobody said DEI is about race. If we lived in a society that was dominated, if we were like, 60% non-white, and white people were the minority, they were like, let's say 20% of the public, and historically they were underserved, underrepresented, we'd be doing DEI for white people. It's like when I go play basketball at the Creator League, that's DEI. Diversity equals race? No. Diversity does not mean race at all. What the Republicans are the first to tell you diversity means diversity of opinion. Why is no diversity of opinion represented? DEI does include race, though. Diversity, equity, and inclusion does not specifically mean race. It does not. It just means race in the way that Republicans use it. They just are simply talking about, black people usually, and sometimes women. Wyoming is real, Hasan. Don't even do this to me right now, okay? We're talking about real states that exist. Wyoming communist? Okay, dude. Yeah, Wakanda communist. Sure, brother. Wyoming is not real, okay? I will not believe it. Be serious, okay? It is not a real place, buddy. Get out of town, okay? It does not exist. It does not exist. All it took was for me to see one poll where it showed that I had the least amount of fans from Wyoming, and that's it. It doesn't exist to me anymore. Ohio is real. It sucks, but it is real. It's a real place.
Equity and inclusion,
How is
right?
that?
Like inclusion of country areas, inclusion of rural areas, inclusion of white men like you.
Okay, so you mean like Hawaii?
I'm referencing. You could say smaller states or places that have less people in it. So obviously would be able to have more of a say per individual.
So your argument is that the U.S. Senate is a DEI. I gotta be honest, I've never heard that argument, but I think it's a little silly. But
how is it silly?
I think that's good. That I've never heard that either. I never heard that. I never heard it like that. It's good.
Argue against it instead of just saying it's silly.
Well, right. So it's silly on its face because. First of all, we have on the...
Because I have no real answer to it immediately. It's not something that I have ever considered.
House of Representatives is proportional to population.
Oh, but the Senate isn't. So it's DEI.
It's not DEI.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Also, the House is also DEI too, bro. Redistricting. It's reverse DEI. They do that
Would you
too.
say it's diversity, equity, inclusion because Wyoming gets 2 senators? They're their own sovereign state, aren't they?
For country areas, for rural areas, equity for rural areas.
That's not
right,
the...
and for smaller states.
So let's go back to the Federalist Papers and the Founding Fathers. Why was the Senate composed
Tell me
this
why
way?
it's not DEI. Like under your definition, why is it not DEI?
Because it's not based on race. And by the way,
it doesn't have to be based on race.
It's not based on...
Wait, Charlie, I didn't realize DEI was just about race. And by race, he means just black people usually, like non-whites. Charlie, I don't think that's what DEI is, dog. It kind of feels to me like you're saying the quiet part out loud over and over again. Oh, it's a race, dude. It's DEI's race. It's about race. Kamala Harris is a black woman.
Equity, and it's not based on inclusion.
Can't you have DEI based upon different characteristics other than race?
Let me finish.
Whether or not you're a woman, whether or not...
Let me finish. Why? It's because we are a collection of states. We are not a federal project. So states' rights usurp federal. Do you know what the 17th Amendment is?
Do you know why the Articles of Confederation failed?
Yes, but what is the
Why?
10th Amendment?
Because states had too many rights, had too much power.
What is the 10th
That's why we
Amendment?
specifically adopted the Constitution.
Parker, let me make one point, okay? Which is, how did we used to elect senators?
It'd be population.
No, we used to elect senators based on state legislatures. So the Senate is an extension of the state legislative bodies. That's not DEI, that's federalism.
I love that this guy said Google DEI, Google diversity, idiot. It clearly says race and ethnicity. Oh, so women are not a part of DEI then? Why would it be race and ethnicity? It would also include gender. It would also include sexual identity. DEI, diversity, simply means there's too much of one thing and we should open it up to other things that are not usually represented. So in a situation, if some states that have less people in them, when we're parsing through the amount of like voting power they should have, if a state has less people in it as opposed to other states, then technically that is diversity. We're giving them more power overall in the voting process by flattening out the amount of senators that a state can have, regardless of its population size.
No. That's the way that our system is set up, which is a bottom-up, citizen-led government to allow the states, which are first and foremost sovereign. So it goes in this ladder in this country.
Bro's just removing more than 90% of the definition and then being like, see, it's only this 10%.
DEI for those states,
citizens,
and for those country areas.
No, because it's colorblind. It's not that.
DEI is not only based on race.
Hold on a second.
Diversity for country, diversity for rural, equity for rural, and inclusion of rural.
No, that's an interesting point. So
you think DEI is only race because you associate it with Kamala Harris?
Let me ask you a question. Is there a single instance in corporate America where DEI is implemented where diversity means anything other than skin color diversity?
So diversity.
No, it's not about viewpoint.
Women.
What? Fine. How about chromosome or diversity or skin color?
So skin color. There's gender. You have to move the goalpost a little bit because you got destroyed there. All right, but there's also
no. I'm just asking a very simple question. The answer is no.
He's being bad
because our system.
He's being bad. He's being silly. Oh no. He said you got destroyed there. I mean, he did, but also oh no. You can't be telling him that you cooked him to his face, dude. Oh no. You got him tweaking, dude. Fuck.
I mean, that's not DEI. Still meets your definition.
The Senate is DEI.
What was your definition, though?
What is
his face twitches? Yes, bro. I swear it gets smaller. Every time he gets owned, his face gets smaller. When I first met Charlie Kirk, his face was larger on his head, bro. I swear to God. Look at that. It's shrinking, dude. It's shrinking. His face is shrinking.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank.
That's crazy.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank.
I love that. That was from my debate with him.
What was your definition? Diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity doesn't only apply to race. You're just saying other people defined diversity, equity, inclusion to be based on race. You didn't, though.
Let me finish. Because you're saying you didn't earn it. You know who did earn it? South Dakota and North Dakota when they charted themselves into states.
Wyoming didn't earn it because they have less of a population.
Into a state. Hold on. Yeah.
Wyoming didn't earn it because it's not a real state. It doesn't exist. Charlie will not choose a student to debate for 10 minutes of the claim of their choosing. Oh, he didn't go. Why didn't he go with Parker? Why didn't he go with that one? Why didn't he go with... Oh, no. He didn't pick him, dude? Damn. That's crazy. He went with the person he supposedly brought with him. Wyoming's a Chinese province. Prove me wrong. Dog, if Wyoming was a Chinese province, it would be real, okay? It's not, and therefore it's not a real place. But you know what is real? The top of the hour ad break, okay, is real for you. Unless you want it to not be real, in which case you have to subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.